just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Bloke in a Bar. And look, if you're watching on YouTube right now, you may be thinking, what is going on there? Look, for two reasons. We've done a whole bloody regional tour. It's time to put me feet up. But the second reason is Broncos are top of the table. So I've earned the right to get the feet up on the table and bloody just relax, boys. Now, the boys are just staring daggers at me, the rudeness of me to do this. But I feel like I've earned it. First of all, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that came out to the regional tour. It was fantastic. And when you're in it, you're appreciating it. But when it was all ending, we all kind of looked at each other and said, damn, this is over now. We actually really enjoyed it. So thank you so much to everyone that came down to every single place. Armidale, Wagga Wagga, Rocky, Cairns. It was absolutely fantastic. And we will absolutely be doing more. I don't know when, whether it's later this year, whether it's the start of next year. Or we'll definitely be doing it again at the start of next year and make it bigger and better because it was absolutely fantastic. We loved it. Also, before we get started, Ringers Western, the second part of our Ringers Western drop is tonight at 7 p.m. New South Wales time, 6 p.m. Queensland time. It's basically the first time, I know I said it last time, I got it mixed up. The first time ever we've got Bloke trucker hacks. That is at 7 p.m. New South Wales time, 6 p.m. Queensland time. Tonight, we've got Bloke trucker hats. We've got all new Country Bloke shirts, Ringers Western Country Bloke shirts. We've got a new coloured work shirt as well that's got a big Bloke label across it. So that's on the Ringers Western site. That is at 7 p.m. New South Wales time, 6 p.m. Queensland time. Make sure to get in there, guys. It is the second and final Ringers Western drop with Bloke. Also, Bloke and Seaton have done a collab, and we have, well, I'm not sure what it just says we have a. There's nothing else after that.
Oh, sorry. Did I not finish that in the notes? Yes.
That's all right.
Bloke Seaton on Bloke website.
So they are available now. So Bloke footies. Have we got one up here?
There is one over there, but the font was slightly different, so I didn't give it to you. But I'll put a photo in the YouTube. Okay,
photo in the YouTube, and then we'll try to post something later. Yeah. So Bloke Steedens, they are fantastic. They're the old school brown ones. Absolutely love them. They sold out like this the last time we put them on the website, so make sure to get them. That's at bloke.shop. But boys, how you going?
Going well, mate. You look comfy.
This actually is. On the third reason why I'm sitting like this is because these chairs, for some reason, there's not enough like bottom bit where you sit, so you've got to hook your legs into what would you call it, the footrest, just to stay on the bloody things. And I fucking hate it. It pisses me off every week. I sit here in pain for you people. In pain. It's like torture. And I don't say a word, and I've had enough, Guru. I can't do it anymore.
Speaking of in pain and torture, Gilligan's the other night. Good God, my Saturday morning was tough.
When seeing you guys roll into the airport, I felt like a smug father. Because I was
you look like a smug father and sounded like one.
Chirpy, ready to go. The day was ahead of me. Life was great. The birds were chirping. The sun was out. I'm heading back home. It was beautiful. And just quietly, the wife was away in Canberra. So I had the house to myself. Could watch the footy and just enjoy it, even though I do that every week anyway. It felt good to see you guys in pain. I'm not going to lie.
We got up, hung over as balls, jumped in our Uber. There was a dog sitting in the front seat of the Uber, which was pretty cool. Got halfway down the highway and Matty goes, "We need to stop." And I went, "Bro, we're 5 minutes away." He went, "We need to stop now." So Matty got out on the side of the road, chunned it everywhere, and we couldn't stop where we were. So the Uber driver goes to me, "Oh, there's a turn up here. We can turn around and come back." The next turn was the airport. So we had to go to the airport into the roundabout, come back halfway to pick up Matty, who was standing on the side of the road.
Oh,
happy
my
as Larry.
God. Absolute Derek. And if people haven't seen it, go to our Instagram, scroll down a little bit. You will see Matthew cutting a rug. It's disgusting, but also admirable.
Unprovoked too.
Yeah, like
unprovoked.
This wasn't like, oh, the vibe's up. Yeah, me hips just keep moving because the boys are getting all about it. No, this is out on a dance floor by himself with absolutely no vibe whatsoever, no rhythm at all as well, in head-to-toe bloke kit, which makes it even funnier.
At best, might have been 9:15.
Yeah, seriously. I think the sun was still out. The sun came back up just for that bit. Timmy, mate, you stay there for an extra day. How was your weekend?
Mate, it was a ripper, and just quietly, mate, if you're sitting there because the Broncos are 4 from 4,
if we're basing that on our side, I might take the mic, go into the desk and just go into the bar and do the show from under there because the Raiders are in all sorts.
Oh, Barney Rubble, baby. Barney Rubble.
Weekend in Cairns was unreal. I actually ran into a few blokes on the Friday night at the show and they were playing footy for the local side. One of them was cousins with Helam Lukey, and I was going to spend my Saturday afternoon out watching the local footy about 15 minutes out of Cairns. Joshy Dugan, the great Dukes, was out there having a run. I'm like, this would be awesome. Woke up, hung as a goat after drinking 8 kryptonites or whatever they call them, some shit sugary drinks, and I was sore. But yeah, I had the extra day up there to recover and heal, so it was good. Good weekend.
Actually, Dukes messaged me during the show. He was like, hey, mate, how long are you up here for? So the Dukes wanted to rip and tear just quietly.
Disappointed there was no Dukes at the show, to be honest.
Yeah, well, he said he would have come out, but he obviously had to play the next day, so he didn't.
I heard Timmy making promises to locals that he'd come to the junior footy, and just as the night went on, I thought, this is one of the great broken promises of all time.
The odds cut in half with every kryptonite that went into my body.
Oh, mate, just sugar in a cup. Sugar in a cup.
Tell you what killed me too, Kempy, when we got on the plane from Cairns, you, me and Matty were on the same flight. I saw you put your headphones on. Matty put his AirPods in and started to fall asleep. I felt my pockets and lost my fucking AirPods.
Oh, my God.
3 hours just marinating my own thoughts hungover.
When you messaged us to I think it was Saturday Arvo, you messaged it to us. I was going to write back and I said, nah, that'll just make it worse. I was like, you should have just asked me. I've got like 4 different pairs of headphones.
I'm glad you didn't say it.
So I was like, nah, it'll make his day worse if I let him know that he could have got some Beat headphones, like literal headphones over the ear Beats that are sitting in my bag the whole time.
You walked past me 4 times too. You didn't notice me watching a movie on fucking subtitles?
You know what? Now I think about it.
Yeah, I thought you were. I thought you gave me a
weird.
look at one stage. You know, the best thing was I said to the lady, I go, oh, can I buy headphones for an iPhone? And she went, yes. And I went, thank God. I go, how much are they? She goes, we're sold out. I went,
oh my God.
Why do that?
Oh, you know what? You know, it's funny. So on the plane on the way up, I was like,
Kempy bought them all.
yeah, I bought them all. No, to the guy, I was like, oh, can you purchase Wi-Fi here? Because I was trying to send a message to Matty about just some editing stuff. And he was like, oh, no, but you can on other planes. So that's... I'm like, don't give a fuck, bro. Don't give a fuck. It's like, thanks for letting me know that I'm on the one plane that didn't have Wi-Fi. Anyway, it was a great trip, great regional tour. We absolutely loved it. I honestly loved it. And I think we'll do it again before the season ends, surely.
100%.
It was fucking so good. And when you're in it, you get tired because we're all shooting so much content throughout the week. And, you know, you might be on a Friday going, oh, damn, I wish I could just stay home this weekend. But now that it's over, I'm like, this Friday's going to roll around. I'll be like, I would love to be in some rural, like driving a long drive somewhere, listen to a podcast. It'd be great.
Surely next stop, Kuma.
Mate, you know what? We can make it happen. We can make it happen.
I'll tell you what stood out to me, and I realised when I got home, like I come out of my apartment and walk down my hall and I run into 2 dickheads. We drove around the country for 4 weeks, and credit to the bloke community.
Not one.
Not one dickhead.
And that's not even GST. Literally not one dickhead. And so, I love it. All the blokes coming out in their bloke kit. It was fucking sick. It was so humbling. How lucky are we? Like, seriously. We are the luckiest. We get to drink piss and talk about rugby league for a living. Luckiest blokes in Australia. So we appreciate it. Thank you so much for all the support, guys. Get down to your nearest IGA liquor in New South Wales to get a case of Bloke Lager. What? I didn't even know about this. $50. You're kidding. What is going on? I'm being robbed here. That is insane. I know how much they cost to make. And $50? Anyway, in your IGA Plus liquor in New South Wales, I'm getting robbed. Get in there, rob me blind. Now, on to accountability. Boys, how do you feel you went on the tips this week?
Not well. Didn't go well in much this week.
Tipping's a nightmare this year. I don't know do you say that every year, but I feel like this year is a genuine nightmare.
I don't go in them anymore, tipping comps, for this reason.
Yeah, you know why? Because if you're in a workplace, there's a person that literally has never watched a game of rugby league in their life and flips a coin and goes, boop, 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 and they win.
It's good fun when I was a teacher.
Oh.
Be the only one watching the games and never get anything right. It was mad.
Put it this way, in the NRL.com tipping comp, there's 250,000 people, and my girlfriend, who last year didn't know what shape you play with in rugby league, what shape of ball it is coming 10th in the world.
10th
in the world.
Stop it.
Yeah.
What? Maybe she'll take your spot, bro.
She's been calling that for the last week.
Jesus, that is outrageous. What, we know nothing about rugby league. We talk each week.
She's 10th in the world. He must have told me 3 times on the weekend that she was coming first out of the Rabbitohs. That was more impressive.
Yeah.
So she's winning the Rabbitohs fans.
Yeah, there's 16,000 Rabbitohs fans. She's first, and she's about 10th in the entire.
That is insane. That is insane. Anyway, accountability brought to you by Sportsbet. Currently, they've got a share a bet. Basically, if your mate puts on a multi and you want to ride it with them, you can, without having to manually put it in yourself. You can now share the bet with a tap of a button and your mate can copy it straight into their bet slip. Share the bet, copy the bet with Sportsbet. As always, guys, gamble responsibly. Don't go crazy. Only punt what you can afford to punt, because you win some, but you lose more. And just treat it more as a bit of fun rather than spending too much money, guys. But thank you so much to Sportsbet, partners of Bloke. We are they've been fantastic, so supportive of Bloke since we've joined forces, and we really, really appreciate it. And look, let's be honest, they are number one, guys. They've got the best app, they've got the best odds with the best promos. So thank you to Sportsbet, but let's get into our accountability. Eels defeat Panthers 17-16. We all went Panthers. We all went Panthers. Eels got the job done, and the Eels were paying $3.25. A few thrifty punters could have made a bit of coin on that one. So that's 0-1 for everyone. We all went Storm versus Tigers. It was looking dicey there for a bit. Storm defeat the Tigers 24-12. We all went Broncos versus the Dolphins. Broncos won 18-12, but Dolphins' performance was one of the most courageous performances I've seen in a very long time. Cowboys defeat the Titans. I went Cowboys. Guru went Titans.
Jeez, I thought I was home at the 20-minute mark.
Oh, wow.
I was very close to early crowing on that one.
Timmy went Cowboys. Maddie went Cowboys. So at the moment, it's myself, Timmy, and Maddie. We're ahead. South defeat Manly 13-12. Fuck off, Maddie. You didn't pick that because you thought about it. You picked it because of your bias. Bullshit. So Maddie's ahead right now because myself, Guru, Timmy, we all picked Manly. Warriors defeat Bulldogs. Fuck! I went Bulldogs. Everyone else went Warriors. So now at the tippity top, it's Timmy, I think. Timmy and...
Maddie's got me by one.
Yeah, Maddie's got you by one.
Because of the bunnies.
Knights defeat Raiders. We all went Raiders. Maddie went Knights. What? Is your missus doing your picks, you dog?
Yeah, she is.
Jesus. Sharks defeat Dragons. We all went Sharks. So that goes Maddie 7 from 8. Timmy 5 from 8. Me 4 from 8. Guru 4 from 8. What the hell? They say we know a bit about footy. That's a load of shit, Guru.
I love how the first week that we actually tally up all the numbers for how people went was the week that Maddie won it.
Finally did his job. We've been doing this for 4 weeks now. He did his job fucking once.
I will say I did go last night to tally up all of them just so I could do a big leaderboard. I didn't get to it, but I did recognise that it's been 4 weeks and we've all won one each.
I was about to say that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Nice.
We should have some kind of bet on the line in regards to who ends up winning, if you know what I mean. Anyway, we'll think about it.
Yeah.
Maybe you all get to punch Maddie in the face or something.
I'll do that if I lose, win, whatever.
That's brought to you by Sportsbet. Accountability brought to you by Sportsbet. If you're going to have a punt, do it responsibly, but you've got to do it with Sportsbet. They're number one. They're the big dogs, and they're supporting us, so support them, guys. Thank you to Sportsbet. Number one in the business, baby, just like Bloke. Now, let's get to our team of the week. At number 1, I had Lockie Miller. Number 2, I had Taruva. 3, Stags. 4, I had Jesse Ramian, even though Maddie has written Jesse Hines there. Ramian at 4.
Okay, sorry, my bad. I meant to write. Don't worry. Continue.
At 5, I had Greg Marju. At 6, I don't know, Cody Walker or Tom Dearden. Oh, man. I'll go Tommy Dearden. 7, Nico Hines. 8, RCG. 9, Brendan Hands. 10, Tino. 11, Eli Katoa. 12, David Faforda. Jazz Tavunga at 13. Sean Johnson at 14. Jared Wallace at 15. 16, Johnny Bateman. And 17, Tommy Gilbert.
I went for Reece Walsh at fullback, Kiraz on one wing, Marshall on the other side. I went with Ramian and Gagai in the centres. Cody Walker in the 6, Nico Hines 7, Tino with Payne Haas up front. Hands got 9 in my spot as well. Imagine if anyone would have predicted that. Hands going.
Oh, Haas was supposed to be on my bench.
Oh, Haas.
Yeah. Anyway, it's all good.
My back row, I went for Feeder and I went Hosking. Hopgood at 13, then I went Miller, Fodawaker. I thought Fodawaker was unbelievable. Looks like he's way about the clock now.
Hoskins was great.
Hoskins was unreal.
You can't, we've been talking about that spot. Anyway, we'll get to it. Sorry, mate.
Fodawaker, Olakuatu, and Jackson Ford, who I thought was tremendous for the Warriors.
Olakuatu. Shit, my bench might change actually now. Timmy?
Walsh at fullback, Kiraz and Khan Pereira on the wing. When the night centres actually, Best and Gagai, I thought had big games yesterday. Cody Walker at 5'8" with Nico Hines, Tino and Fanua Blake at prop, Brendan Hands at 9, Dave Fafita and Hosking in the back row with Jermaine Hopgood. Bench went SJ just over Mitchy Moses as the utility, Ellie Katoa, Britton Nickera and Payne Haas.
Yeah, I think I might make a couple changes, if I'm being honest. I think
Hot field this week.
It is a hot field. Tommy did, and he was just courageous. He was a battler. He battled what I love. But Cody Walker, those 2 tries he scored.
It was a hot field, but not so much in the key positions. I found I thought fullback,
except for Nico.
Yeah, except for Nico. Even like 5'8", there were some good 5'8", but I thought fullbacks, hookers, and locks. There was no real standouts this week.
I thought Lockie Miller was really good yesterday. I thought that was his best game in a row.
I had him in, and then I'm just trying to remember.
He made an error at the end.
He let a couple of bombs bounce, and he did something else. Maybe missed a tackle or something that I can't remember. But I think I wiped him late.
He let it bounce, and then Jackie Whiten fucking took his head off.
Yeah.
And then there was another one where he dropped the ball and grounded it with his torso, I think. But I thought he was really good. I thought without him...
He was awesome, yeah. I had him for about 65 minutes from memory.
Without him, there's no way the Knights get close to winning that game. Like, I thought he was outstanding. I mean, well, maybe they do, but he was a key factor in their victory. That team of the week is brought to you by Bloke Beer. IGA Plus Liquor is currently robbing me blind with a $50 case of beer. So get into your IGA Plus Liquor in every single New South Wales. Also, we're in hundreds of stores across the eastern seaboard. So you've got Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, ACT. We're in hundreds of stores, guys. So get in your local. We are the beer of rugby league. No other beer loves footy like us. You guys know that. No other beer sits here for 4 hours and bloody talks about footy. Oh, I say 4 hours, more like 30 hours a week pretty much, and talks about footy and loves footy like we are. So grab a beer, enjoy the footy. Our new mid-strength is absolutely flying off the shelf, so make sure to give that a try. Now, let's get into our big news. We'll go through this quickly, guys. I'm not surprised about this at all. Roosters have confirmed Sua'ali'i will leave at the end of 2024, $1.6 million a year. We spoke about this at the live show. I'll give my thoughts quickly. A lot of people are saying, well, why would he just automatically go to rugby union? I think it's kind of like the Sonny Bill Williams situation where if he goes to another club, I can see the Roosters saying, then there's no home for you here. Like, maybe. Again, this is all just an assumption. But I can see the Roosters going, if you're in the NRL, you're with us and we'll always take care of you. If you go in another club, we can't guarantee that in a few years we'll take you back. Whereas this way, he goes away, he has a couple years to build up for the World Cup, and then he plays in the World Cup, and if he wants to come back, that'll almost perfectly line up with, we'd say Tedesco will be retired by then. Then he can come back, the Roosters will have money. That's if Joey Marnie doesn't slot into that fullback role, which, I mean, Roosters always have so many gun players. And that's where they can go, all right, Sua'ali'i, come home. You've enjoyed your time in Rugby World Cup. And the good thing for Sua'ali'i is if he goes now and gives himself as much time as possible before the World Cup, if he goes and kills it, because, just rocking up and think you're going to kill it. I know people like to put shit on rugby union or whatever, but it's a worldwide big game that it's not just as simple as rocking up and killing it. There are plenty of leagueies that have gone there and haven't gone great, that have played union before. And so give him a few years to get ready. If he kills in the World Cup, the money that will be offered to him internationally will be absolutely obscene. So I think Sua'ali'i has set himself up perfectly for his career, and I think we'll see something. Will he achieve what Sonny Bill did? Probably not, because he's not with the All Blacks. But I do think we'll see a similar-ish kind of, I don't think he'll become a boxer or anything, a similar-ish kind of path, I think.
Yeah, I agree on the vast majority of that, mate. I think the Roosters would have said, if you're in the NRL, you're in Bondi, or you're not. Simple as that. So I was expecting him to go to union, as we all were. I probably didn't expect it to happen this early, but you made a good point pre-show that is it that early, realistically? I mean, for when he's signing. And I completely agree with you. I think that Sua'ali'i could walk into Super Rugby tomorrow and do really well. But he's not going there to do well in Super Rugby. He's going there to win a World Cup, to beat South Africa, to beat the All Blacks, whoever the hell's going well in World Rugby right now. And from the little I watch, I don't think the Wallabies are on that level at the moment. So got work to do, and he's probably going to need all the time he can. I mean, when he's moved to fullback in the league, he's been good, but I'm sorry, he hasn't been outstanding.
He's been a good ball runner.
Been a good ball runner.
Yeah.
But we already knew that. We haven't really learned anything that we didn't know already. So I think he has got plenty of work to do still, but I think he can achieve so much over there.
Timmy?
I wish the Raiders were in a position to do that, Guru, and just be like, if you're in the NRL and you leave this club, you're not coming back to -5 winters. Like, you're at the Raiders or you're gone. You're dead to us. Sua'ali'i, I like that he got on the front foot early with it. He hasn't left the Roosters in the lurch by, at the end of 2023, dragging this out and dragging his name through the media. You know, they can make plans around this going forward. Like, he's still so young, Sua'ali'i, so he doesn't need the extra pressure of contract talk the next 2 years and put to bed this crap about him taking over at fullback from James Tedesco and all that crap media beat up around all that. I think it's great. Good luck to him for probably a dream of his, I dare say, to go and try and play in a Rugby World Cup. The fact that he's given himself, he'll get 2 full seasons of union before trying to win a place in this Wallaby squad. I think that there have been players in the past, Tuivasa-Sheck, who sort of on the cuff of the All Black squad and gets games here and there, but he was an absolute, I mean, he was essentially the Dalian medal winner, wasn't he, when he left? Pretty close to it. And I know the All Blacks are a bit different to the Wallabies, but very hard, as you said, Kempy, you can't underestimate and think, oh, it's soft. League players will go and walk into the national side. It doesn't work like that. So he's given him 2 years to achieve it and achieve the goal of obviously playing in the World Cup. So good luck to him, mate. I'd love to have him back in the future, but if not, you know, he's made his decision.
I'll tell you what's unbelievable. Like, he's 19 right now. He could be back in league and still play 9 seasons.
I know, it's super smart from him. Like, people, you know, might get upset about it if you're a NRL loyalist or whatever, but come on, this kid has plenty of time. Let him go and, like, I saw there was an article saying that he should be banned from New South Wales selection. And I was like,
goodness.
I was like, he's going to play for Australia. Like, what? He's representing us, just in a different sport. Like, are we more loyal to rugby league than our country? Like, let's be loyal to our country first, and then everything after that comes. He's representing Australia. He's representing us. He should be eligible for selection.
And
and
Kempy, if they did that and banned him from the Blues for the next 2 years, whatever it might be, he would have dragged this out to the very end so that he could play Origin the next 2 years and then would have landed on there. Yeah. So that's such a horrible thing.
Yeah, so anyway, congratulations to Sua'ali'i. As I said, if he kills in the World Cup, the money that will be thrown at him from like Japanese rugby, European rugby, this big, good-looking, marketable superstar, it'll be obscene. Like, there's a world, if he goes and kills it in the World Cup, where he might get offered nearly $2 million a year from some huge clubs. So he set himself up. It's smart. The
other thing is, it'll going over and playing a bit of union. I don't know what position he'll slot in. He can play anywhere in the back line, obviously. He's a gun. Could do wonders for his ball playing as well. Coming back to the NRL, hopefully coming back to the NRL, I should say, as a fullback. He's going to come back.
There's one thing I was really surprised with, the development of Israel Folau's ball playing when he was over there. Something that when he left, I sort of went, I don't know if he's got it in him.
Yeah.
But he like, as much as we never saw him come back, if we do see Sua'ali'i comes back, could be unreal.
Yeah, absolutely. So congratulations, Sua'ali'i. Now let's get into the games. Eels defeat the Panthers 17-16. What a couple of huge moments. Mitchell Moses inks the contract, or announces he's inked the contract at least. And you're watching the end of that game going, uh-oh, the pressure is going to be like Mitchell Moses. He's just signed this contract. He's not worth it. You could already see the comments coming. They were flying in. And he steps up to the moment and absolutely nails it. Then you got Nathan Cleary, who did one of the most calculated big plays I've seen in a very long time. Like, we've had bigger plays in grand finals and all that kind of stuff. But like a calculated play where everyone in the stadium, everyone watching knew exactly what was happening, knew what was on the line, and then still nailing it. And it was a tough play. I can't remember the last time we saw something like that. What an incredible game. And look, if there's one team, the Eels, like, this is the Eels. They played terribly for 3 weeks, then they go and beat the reigning premiers. And you go, well, there it is. They can still make the 8. They could still even make the 4 if they want to. They still might be a premiership threat. And it's kind of getting to a point, like, I wanted the Eels to progress this year to not that side, to more of the... But at the end of the day, maybe that's just their DNA. Maybe this is just who the Eels are. They're going to rock up, have a few bad games, but when the big games come, they usually turn up.
All jokes aside and everything, I thought Ryan Madison, him coming into this side
Massive.
was huge, absolutely massive. And I just thought that the back end of that game, like when Nath Cleary has that moment and then Junior gets sent from the field, there's not a hope in hell Parramatta win that game 2 years ago. Not a hope in hell they come back from that.
Yeah.
I thought it was incredible. I thought it was great to see Mitch Moses stand and deliver in that moment. As soon as Nate kicked that field goal, I went, fuck.
Yep.
This is a nightmare for Parramatta. They've done so well to be in this game. And then I also thought the other thing about Nate, like the field goal was amazing. For him to kick for touch and find touch on the 37-metre line,
it's crazy.
Like it was all just perfect. And we were saying we were watching it live with a few beers, but even watching it, like he didn't kick it from in front. He was on the side, so it's about a 55
Mate, it's a massive kick. That
I'm
kick.
not saying he should have just tapped it and kicked the fucking thing. He probably would have got it.
It was honestly
huge.
It was a huge kick, and also like if he had to kick that from 20 metres out, it would be impressive. It wasn't in the middle of the field. Like, unbelievable.
What makes me sick to think of where Nathan Cleary's at in his career is just as a clutch player. I don't know about you boys, but I would have been low-key disappointed if he missed it because he is that good.
Yeah.
There's no, like, put it this way, if he smoked it and shaved the upright or was a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, so be it. But so many players get that shot and they...
completely shank
it.
Yeah.
But Cleary... I was like, I expect him to get it. He's a freak.
And it's one of those things too that I would assume he would have never practiced doing that. Why would you?
I mean, such a small, like the chances of being in a game 2 points down, you're in that position on the field, they're so small. And you've got to, I think it's been, what's it been, 3 games now? So St. Helens had that clutch conversion. And then there was another one, or was that the other one? So that was the one where he did the ice in the veins.
That was ice in the veins,
Was there another one since then? Anyway, he is just...
Won't be his last.
Honestly, he is so incredible. But then Mitchell Moses, even the Mitchell Moses situation, so they roll down the field and I go, that is great by the Eels. Super simple. Everyone's on board. Aggressive running. No one's trying to offload and be a hero. But then they passed, I think, to Mitchell Moses and he had to quickly offload and then they got caught on the edge of the field. I'm going, oh, shit. This is so Eels. Like, they did everything perfectly and then in the second last play, they fucking take it to the wrong part of the field. But I think, as you said, this new Mitchell Moses that's a bit more mature, a bit more, calm under pressure, gets to back into the middle of the field. The great, I think it was RCG with a massive run. Well, he was at least one of the runs in the set. And then Moses nailed it. He absolutely nailed it. What a game.
And
what
the cool, calm head of Brendan Hands. Getting him back there.
Debut.
Beautiful ball for Mitchy Moses.
Debut. Think about what's going through his head.
Yeah.
Because, it's the pressure that you're just feeling on you going, I have to not only get the ball to Mitchell Moses, I have to nail it. Because if it is a bit to the left, a bit to the right, it's gone.
We were talking about it the other day. I think we all agree he's got to start at 9 next week. Hands.
Yeah, so I was going to get into this a bit later on this one, but yeah, look, I don't know about next week should he start because it's only been 1 week, but I think that we can all agree that Hodgson individually has been playing good footy. Outside of his defence this game, he missed quite a few tackles, and that's a mixture of two things. He was shooting up out of the line, so sometimes you can miss and you put pressure on a player, so he actually stops, but. The problem is that we've spoke about it pre-Hodgson arriving. You've got enough firepower in Moses and Dylan Brown. So even if individually Hodgson is playing good footy, is it what the team needs right now? It's only been 1 week, but I think they looked like a better, more structured side when Hands came on the field because he was just delivering service. And so I want to see another game or two, but I just think that Hodgson's the perfect guy to bring on for 20 minutes either side of the half and just go, mate, basically say, all right, Mitchell Moses, have a rest, just be really structured for this 20 minutes. Hodgson, lead the boys around for 20 minutes, up the tempo, play around the ruck, do what you want to do, get him off the field, then Hands comes back on and then goes back to Mitchell Moses' ball. I personally think that may be where they land. Put it this way, if Hands has another game like that, that's how I'd be playing. I'd be having Hodgson on the bench. I'd be having Hands play the majority of the minutes with Hodgson coming on for 20 to 30 minutes a game, sometimes 40.
I had a lot of question marks over whether Hodgson would play 80 minutes. You backed him in to play 80, and I think he's shown that he can play 80, but is it best for the team for him to play 80 would be my question. Do you get more out of Hodgson if you play him for 50, 60 minutes? That's sort of the angle that I'd be going.
See, I'd go on lower. I'd be going lower. I think Hands was really, really good. Now, again... I'll be going lower if the same thing happens next game and Hands comes on and plays really well, then I will consider it. But it's only been 1 game. Hands could come on tomorrow and next game and play poorly, and you go, well, let's keep Hodgson there and just try and build this
that's fair.
combination.
I don't think the answer is Hands playing 50 minutes, though. And look, maybe it is. I think the answer is more, and this was always going to be the issue, I think it's we need to teach Hodge. I know this is hard because he's such a veteran of the game, to stop playing such an aggressive hand in attack. And he needs to take a back seat and say, I've got these 2 star halves outside me. He can give that good service. And he needs to sit back and just give it. When the opportunity rises to attack, go for it. But he needs to take a step back. I think that's the play rather than Hands playing big minutes. Maybe like a 50-30 split, sweet. But I think Hodge is still the man to play the bigger minutes.
That's what I'd be going for, I think. Yeah.
I'd be going similar to the Benny Hunt, Harry Grant combination in Queensland. Benny Hunt, although he does have quite a good running game, quite structured, great pill. Harry Grant comes on and he just tears them apart through the middle. I think Hodgson could do the same. I just think Hodgson may be too far along in his career to become a totally different player because it's just so not what he is. He is usually the main guy, usually the guy that's calling the shots. I just think they look so much more... Their play just opened right up when Hands came on. So it's going to be interesting. I think either way, Hodgson is a positive for that side, for sure. And it almost feels unfair saying this because he hasn't been playing poorly. He hasn't at all. But there's just something about combinations that I think that Hands may be able to provide Moses a bit more direction.
You might be right. Brad Arthur's shown us over the last few weeks he's probably not afraid to use 4 interchanges on hookers. Play the big boys for big minutes. It's going to be interesting now. Junior's gone. He's been playing, 60, 65 minutes the last few weeks. They've got Matto back, obviously, but it's going to test those guys on the bench that haven't played huge minutes the last few weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously, deserves the suspension or whatever, but I think the Junior Polo situation was tough because, I'm pretty sure he was jumping to avoid leg sweeping around and hitting him, and it just went completely wrong. Holy shit. If you don't take notice of the legs that are swinging around and that you'd be like, did he jump into his head? Oh, big fella, brain explosion. So anyway, outside of that, just a good win for the Eels. Once again, we're almost in the same position to a degree as last year. Last year they had more wins on the board, but you go, well, we know they can do it. So they're almost the team that you just go, I can't judge them because we know one day they'll turn up and just go, boom, beat the Premiers.
It's nearly identical to last year.
It's crazy. It is honestly
they
crazy.
They can lose their next 2, but they can still beat Penrith on their day.
I know, which is insane.
Obviously.
So I think there's a lot of... I will say is really interesting. So there's an article that has come out basically saying that the Eels have informed Gutho that they're looking for a fullback, or at least it's weird because then they were even if they sign someone, that someone might be on the bench and they come on and fullback and then Gutho moves somewhere. I find this shocking, to be honest. Are you telling me they can't win a comp with Gutho at the back there? If anything, they need a centre and a winger, not a fullback. Their fullback is sorted. It blows my mind. And so maybe they're thinking, we'll put Gutho in the centres and we'll get some strike fullback at fullback. But I think that's craziness. Centres and wingers are cheaper and there's way more of them than fullbacks. I cannot believe for the life of me, and maybe it's not true, so I apologise if this is just a random report, but if they're looking to replace Gutho, or not replace Gutho, because he'll still, apparently in the article it said Gutho had given them, Gutho had basically said to the club, whatever is best for the club, I will do it, which is a captain. What an incredible bloke. But I cannot for the life of me believe that they need a fullback. They need a centre and a winger.
It was a bizarre article, wasn't it? I got halfway through it and went, am I getting batooted here? Is this...
because they were
what is going on?
Maybe the recruit wouldn't play fullback. He would come off the bench and it's what?
Strange.
So is it... Has the club said to Gutho, we just need a strike outside back, and that's been flipped into we need a fullback? Or have they genuinely been let Gutho know that we just need a bit more strike and you may be the person that has to move to centre? I don't get it.
I don't know what to read into with that article, yeah.
The Raiders are sitting there with Seb Chris at fullback, and Eels Gutho, you're probably not good enough for us at fullback. We need a better fullback.
It's bizarre.
It seems again, on what we know, such disrespect. What more do they want Gutho to do, for God's sake?
On the weekend, I'm pretty sure he had a try-saving tackle.
Yeah, on Fisher Harris. It was
unbelievable.
unbelievable.
Yeah. And then he ran for 218 metres and he only had one error, which would have been the amount of times he touched the ball. He had 23 runs.
And he took some very, very courageous bombs. Crazy.
I don't get it. Surely it's not true.
Top 5 fullbacks in the NRL at least. He's unreal.
And I always ask the question, is he a good enough fullback to win a premiership? Yes, 100%. Much worse fullbacks have won premierships. Oh. It is bizarre to me. I can't, for the life of me, understand how they don't see the fact that they need outside backs. They need a big, good strike outside back. They've got Bensini on one side with Sivo. That's sorted. On the other side, they've got Wonga Blake and Simonson, who they're just unsure of. If Wonga Blake reaches his potential, sure, he can be the strike. But I think he still had 2 errors on the weekend.
And at the same time, Kempy, when you've got Mitch Moses, Dylan Brown, Clint Gutherson, Junior Bolo, Regan Campbell-Gillard, Ryan Madison, Sean Lane, far out. You've got to have a slightly weaker area in your side somewhere.
Yeah, 100%.
And let's not say Wonga Blake and Bailey are bad footballers by any means, because they're not, but it is the weaker edge of their side. But you can't have everything.
Yeah, it is bizarre. And for it to even get out as well.
So weird.
Very strange.
I've noticed it in New South Wales last few weeks. They've been playing Assie at centre. I wouldn't be surprised if he's a guy they bring in over the next few weeks. I think he's very talented. I'm not convinced he's a centre, but I wouldn't be surprised if he turns out to be their best option.
Yeah, sorry, Wonga Blake apologies had one error and it was a drop ball. So it's not too bad, I guess. When you look at another reason why they won is their completion was unbelievable, especially for the first half. But overall, 95% completion rate.
41 of 43.
That is so good. So good.
That'd have to be up there with the best completions in a number of years.
There was one game where the Warriors nearly completed 100%. They dropped the ball in the last 4 minutes or something like that. Right. So that was at the start of COVID. So that would be the highest in a few years.
Shout out to Brad Arthur as well. He obviously picked Hands to play on the weekend. I noticed that Mitch Rain was actually available, so he could have quite easily gone with Rain. His hand today debuted at Hands, and it might have won them that game.
He was outstanding, seriously outstanding. Mitchell Moses kicking for over 1,000 metres. It's a great knock. What I loved about the Eels' performance is they simplified everything and just said, you know what, we're going to complete high and kick a lot, and going to constantly kick to Taruva to take Edwards out of the game, even though Edwards got in the game and played well. Took To'o kind of out of the game. He still had some impressive runs. You can't take To'o completely out. I thought it was fantastic from the Eels. Now, if you just do it every week, because it's not like they played this electrifying, crazy footy. It was good, basic, high completion, low errors, get the job done footy.
And if you want to tell the story of Mitch Moses' kicking game, you look at the stats of the Penrith Panthers and their back five. Taruva had 319 run metres.
Craziness.
176 were kick return metres.
Far out.
To'o had 23 kick return metres.
He's still
steal me stat there, mate. Jesus
please.
Christ, throw you under the bus.
I was doing the research when you were asleep on Saturday morning. And if you want to go even further,
To'o still ran for 240 metres. Jesus Christ!
And that's what's incredible. 240 run metres, and he still had 82 post contact that was the game high, and he was taking those third and fourth tackles.
And I said he was quiet, which shows you how much I fucking know. And did he not seem? Not it was.
Oh, for sure, because he didn't have kick returns. He was, and if you want even more evidence of how good Mitch Moses' kicking game was, you look at the centres. Stephen Crichton, the right centre, the ball was never there for him to take hit-ups. He ran for 67 metres. Isaac Tungo ran for 200 without a line break or anything like that. So they just played everything out of that back corner. It was very impressive by Mitch. And it's what we spoke about grand final day last year at the live show. Exactly what we spoke about. Who are Parramatta going to kick to, how they're going to deal with it. They didn't execute it that night. They did on this night. I reckon Taruva's going to run for a lot of metres over the next few weeks, because surely other teams would have picked up on that.
I just don't know whether teams have the composure that the Eels had that night. You know, because
it sounds so easy.
Yeah, it sounds easy, and you're like, well, why doesn't every team do
it?
So yeah, really, really good from the Eels. Again, it's hard to say, they're back because it's one game, but at the same time, this, although they had more wins banked up at the start of last year, this is kind of what they were like a couple of poor games, then they would come out. Because what's weird as well is it's a 17-16 win. The last two games they've led in 30 points. So you're going, so you're telling me that the Panthers are easier to defend against than the Sharks or who was the week before for the Eels? Anyway, the two teams that they played, yeah, so a great knock by the Eels. Really, really good win. And Mitchell Moses, absolute class. Absolute class.
I thought it was interesting this morning. Had a look on Sportsbet. Do you know who the premiership favourites are still?
Panthers?
Yep, $4.
Once again, even when they lose, only leaking 17 points.
Yep.
Like, they're just, fuck.
Imagine having to complete at 95% to beat the Panthers by a point.
Yeah, exactly. Complete at 95%. Have some of your players have the best games they've had in a very long time. Like, the front row for the Eels was absolutely phenomenal. Phenomenal. Both ran for 250 metres against the Panthers pack. Outstanding. So great win for the Eels. It will be a huge confidence boost. It's so funny when you look at these stats, how they're so flipped on their head. So you look at the Eels and their front row ran for 500 metres. You look at the Panthers, their front row ran for 110 metres combined, so 43 and 80. So whether that's because the Eels were so good at just kicking to Taruva and keeping them in their end, but it shows you just different game plans because, far out. 255 metres for Regan Campbell-Gillard, 244. Both of them had 80-plus contact metres. 17 tackles, 0 misses for Junior, 27 tackles for RCG. Whereas James Fisher-Harris had 57 tackles, only 2 misses, far out. And Moses Leota had 37 tackles. And so it just shows you how much the Penrith Panthers basically try to get their outside backs to do all the work so that their forwards can be rested for defence. But what a knock by the Eels. What a knock. Anything lastly that you want to say on the Eels?
Well done to Parramatta. I thought they got absolutely fisted by this draw, getting all these teams off buys, and very, very tough way to start the season. I know I said it off the top, but just the importance of their middles once they got Ryan Madison back in there. And he's going to be so important over the next few weeks as well without Junior. So credit to Parra. A good win.
Now, on to the Penny Panthers, mate. I want to shout out my boy Hoskins. I can't believe I didn't put him in my team of the week, so he's definitely going to be there. I can't believe I forgot. So he got a try, and it was a crucial try. 100 metres, 109 metres, 5 tackle breaks, a line break, 2 offloads, 54 tackles, 0 missed. 0 missed. Unbelievable. So, we talked about how, that other edge was under pressure and, who would get that spot. I think Hoskins has come in and made a huge statement where he probably gets that spot next week, unfortunately for Garner, who hasn't been poor at all, but Hoskins was outstanding.
What do you reckon they'll do? Do you think they'll play Hosking on the left? I reckon there's a chance they move Liam Martin over the left and keep Hosking on the right.
Well, I think it just depends on how good can Liam Martin be on either side. Like, if he could be as effective on that side, then you keep Hoskins there. But if Martin, his best side is that side, you give it to the veteran.
Do you remember what edge Hosking played when he was at the Bronx in those couple of games?
I'm pretty sure it was left.
I'm pretty sure it was left.
Okay.
But I did think it was interesting a couple of weeks ago when they pulled Garner early, they put Jamin Salmon to the right and they put Liam Martin over the left edge. So I reckon just by watching the combo that Nath Cleary had with him the other night, I reckon there's a real chance that Nath says to Ivan, give me Hosking.
Well, I think Liam Martin will be so good on either side.
Exactly right.
You can go, you know what, whatever side Martin goes on, he's going to fucking rip and tear. Whereas Hoskins genuinely seems to have a great relationship, a great partnership with Cleary in regards to the lines he runs, the things he gets through. 54 tackles and 0 misses on the edge.
Yep. On
an edge. That's unheard of.
And this isn't one game where Hosking comes in and he does it every game he plays first grade. He's a freak.
I cannot believe he's 25. And he's barely got to run in first grade.
Isn't it wild to look back now at him playing for Brisbane and everyone's sitting there going, wow, and the club that signs him is fucking Penrith?
Yep. It just shows you. And it shows you, some players are later bloomers. Yeah. How many players like him get lost to the system because there's no point if you're a 24-year-old. Well, not no point. You can do it for the love of the game and keep grinding to play first grade, but why would you risk getting injured so you can't do your job to provide for your family at 24 years old? And playing Q Cup, get a shoulder reco, and let's say you're a tradie or something, you can't not work for 6 months. So how many players that are as similar to Hoskins, battlers that just take a little bit longer to develop, just get left out of the system, just get lost in it?
Tim was saying the other day how good looking you think Zach Hosking is too.
I agree, mate. Mad sort, the mule. Mad sort. Taruva, 27 runs, 319 metres. Dylan Edwards, 30 runs, 313 metres, 10 tackle breaks. Yeah, look, like Panthers, it's kind of like what they do is they're just so consistent. Like even when they lose, they keep the score low and there's absolutely nothing to worry about. And when you see a guy like Zach Hoskins pop up, you start to go, all right, is he kick out? No, he's not kick out. But all of a sudden, you go, there's a wide-running, damaging line runner on the edge there that they may be able to turn to get a bit of momentum. And it's only going to grow that combination. So, yeah, good knock by the Penrith Panthers. Nathan Cleary, we've already talked about that amazing field goal. What do you guys think of the Panthers?
I obviously don't want to take anything away from Parramatta's win or whatever, but fuck, I thought it would have been interesting if Sonny Luke didn't get his HIA. I really thought when he came on the field, he was only on for about 2 or 3 minutes, but I feel like you could feel a bit of an upbeat change for Penrith, and I think losing him was really crucial. Parramatta deserved the win, don't get me wrong, but he's the other factor that I think once you actually start to see him play some footy and stay on the field, Penrith will be very, very dangerous in that back 50 minutes.
I wonder what they're going to do with the 9 this coming week, because he'll be out for 11 days now.
You'd have to assume so, yeah.
So I wonder, Mitch Kenny, does he play 80? Do they have any young fellas coming through? Or?
They got a few young. They've got Summerton in reserve grade, Riley Smith. There's a few guys in their top 30 there that they could pick, so they've got options.
Timmy, what do you think about the Panthers?
How was our boy Scotty Sorensen? Panthers, they were, I think, came on about 30th minute mark, almost his first touch of the game, inject in the middle as they do, has a try assist.
He's so good.
He only played 30 minutes, ran for 87 metres, line break, try assist. Man, he's good. And I know he'd had a week out due to, it might have been a concussion or something, but got to be playing more than 30 minutes. He's in unreal form. Or like, it's a consistent, 2 years now worth of it. I thought he was phenomenal again.
He's one of the best, if not the best, bench impact player in the comp. Him and Madison probably...
It shows how good he is that when we spoke about, Hosking v. Garner and who plays on the edges, that a lot of people are out there going, just play Sorensen on the edge and give him bigger minutes. How vital he is to their rotation that Ivan Cleary said, no, I'm still happy to play you off the bench, come on as middle in limited minutes.
Yep.
That's how important he is and what he means to this team. That being said, I'd like to see him get a few more minutes because... Yep. God, he's in good form.
Well, I think even in the doco all the way on Channel 9, Ivan Cleary makes a point of being like, Scotty Sorensen's so important. Like, what he does for this team is absolutely huge, huge.
I finished watching that the other day. How good was it?
Unbelievable. That and the Stan doco. Like, these docos are getting better and better and better. Like, the Panthers one, like, seeing the boys all put shit on each other and whoop up with the fucking aviators and all that kind of stuff. Mate, it's so good.
And I said from watching the first 2 episodes, if you're a Doggies fan, you should be excited about Serraldo. If you're a Warriors fan, Webby in the back end, very impressive.
And also, who's the one coach that Nathan Cleary makes a point of saying, he goes, I know a lot of our coaching staff get a lot of raps or whatever, but Andrew Webster is so important to us. And what do you watch? The battle of the assistant coaches on the weekend. Webby got the dub. I was surprised that didn't get more banter around it, the battle of the assistant coaches. And we'll get to that game, but what good signs for both clubs? A low scoring, tight affair, like that's fantastic for both clubs. Like they both have got systems in place that look like they're working. Anyway, we'll get to it. But yeah, Penrith Panthers, absolutely nothing to worry about. And they are just an absolute beast of a club now. An absolute beast of a club.
So they play next week? Canberra Raiders.
Oh, yes. Please put the sword to the Canberra Raiders.
This would be a real test of where the Panthers are at.
Possibly without Whiten as well, who just came in and just suspended for 2 weeks.
Is Fogarty back? Who?
Jackie Whiten.
He's got suspended for 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Please.
Not sure about Fogarty.
Yeah.
Fogarty had a virus last week, so he should be good.
Okay.
Thank Christ.
It's a great. Fogarty returns. Him and Frawley in the halves.
Yeah.
Now, anything else for the Panthers, boys?
Good.
I think that does it.
Yeah, great win. Great win for the Eels, though, and nothing to be disappointed about as a Panthers fan. I thought they had a red-hot crack. Now, on to Storm v. the Tigers. Look, sometimes a win's a win. I mean, always it's a win's a win, but...
more often than not, at least.
Yeah, more often than not. But, geez, the Storm needed this. It wasn't pretty. The Tigers were definitely not pretty. Just get it done. Sometimes you just got to rock up. It doesn't matter if it's dirty. It doesn't matter if it's ugly. It doesn't matter if you're sitting there going, wow, this isn't what we usually play like. And you just need to get a win. And the Storm did that. And a few of their players that had been a bit quiet were quite good. Broke is one of them. They completed 87%. They missed tackles was around the 26 mark, which isn't too bad. They had more possession of the ball. Are they the absolute show-stopping monsters of 2 years ago? To be honest, they're nowhere near that at the moment, the Storm. But as I just said, a win is a win. Take it, build confidence. There's a few players that have been a bit quiet that really stood up. Munster looked much better back in that side. Geez, they look like a different side with him in it, which is obvious statement. A few of their edge back roles were outstanding. Lioro, Katoa, Josh King got through a mountain of work. So a win's a win, man. A win is a win.
It was ugly, but you just take it.
Yeah. Take it and fucking bounce.
Good teams play shit and win. So Melbourne, they'll be happy to get out of there with this one. Mate, I want to give a little shout out to Pizzette. He played in the under-19s game last year, killed it in that game. I'd watched him play a lot of other footy and I wasn't convinced he was as good as what people were saying. He's come into first grade and done incredibly well, I think. Credit to him. He has been really, really impressive. Replacing Jerome Hughes in this one. I thought he did some really nice things, did some great things last week as well. So,
well, he should have 2 tries. He's got like none.
His stats seem unders to me for how he played.
I'm pretty sure he had the flick pass, and then so he had the flick. So he broke the line, flick pass to Katoa.
Yep.
And then the other one where he got a quick ball and then he flicked it out the back where he couldn't see, and then they scored in the wing. So that's 2 tries.
So a good example of stats being misleading, Cam. I've spoken before about how obviously NRL.com use the NRL stats, whereas other platforms like SuperCoach, for example, will use the Fox Sports stats. And they determine try assists in particular are the ones that are off. And the best example of it on the weekend was Johnny Bateman, where he crabs across field, fends off 3 or 4 blokes, passes to the space, and IPAP just catches and passes. On NRL.com, IPAP gets the try assist for that.
Yeah, okay.
Bateman gets a contribution where it's like, clearly that's John Bateman's try assist, but
really.
that's where it can be a little bit misleading.
Who else? You're right. Like I was in a similar mould of like, I knew he'd be a first grader for sure, but was it a few years earlier than we expected him to probably debut? Because in that under-19s Origin game you're talking about, he had 4 try assists, and this height was like, I think some of the greats were even saying it's the most I've ever seen a player control a game since either Cam Smith or Joey. Anyway.
Jesus.
Even though it's for under-19s. And so I was like, I hope that because he did this on such a big stage for under-19s that people aren't expecting the world of him. But then he's come in, he's had 4 try involvements already in 2 games, minimum.
He's done very well. The other one I was going to mention was Ellie Katoa, but I'm scared that Timmy might get a little bit upset if I steal his thunder on Ellie.
No, I've said enough about Ellie Katoa the last 3 weeks, so you can have him.
I thought he was great. I'm only echoing everything. I had to listen to Tim screaming at the TV the other night, but I thought he was fantastic in this one. And we sort of said before, might have been off mic, like we had questions about, geez, are Melbourne still getting these guys, developing them out of nowhere and turning them into stars? And I mean, he's a guy that he's starting to look like what we expect from Melbourne when they sign someone that's got potential but hasn't quite put it together. Yeah. And just his workload, though, that's what I've been most like.
With the tough carries he's
line
doing.
Breaks and shit, I know he can do it. I know that comes easy to him. It's the other stuff that I've been really impressed with.
It's what the Storm do so well. Like they take players where you know they've got the ceiling, but what's their middle ground like? And I agree, mate. Like the line breaks, it's almost you should be doing that. You're a gun, but where's the tough carry when we need it out of our end? And Katoa has been phenomenal at that. And I what's crazy is I don't even think we're even close to where he's going to get to. You know what I mean? Wait until the Storm spine actually has some time together and can get to create sets around him, like the Penrith Panthers did with kick-out.
That's the other thing as well. I mean, what I'll be round 4, he's played with 2 halfbacks already on his edge. Like, it's swapped and changed. It hasn't been easy for him. The other one, mate, on that same edge, Will Warbrick.
Much better.
I got to the end of last week and thought, I'm not sure if he'll be named this week. I genuinely thought he was in trouble. Bounced back with a really good game here. 5 tackle breaks, 2 line breaks.
A couple of errors.
A try. I think he's going to be one of those guys. I think he's always going to have
an error or two in him.
1 or 2 errors in him, realistically.
Yeah, but the upside's easily worth it.
Yeah. when you get him the ball, I think that's been the problem last few weeks. He hasn't got any clean ball at all.
Yeah, he seemed like it is tough for especially a union guy to come across, because it's not like they don't want to go in and work, and they want to go in and scoot, and they want the ball and they want to be involved. But sometimes it's a confidence thing, especially like at a club like the Storm. If there's any club that's still a little bit old school, it's the Storm. And so it's all about earning respect, earning the right, all that kind of stuff. And so sometimes as a winger, you want to get in there and take scoots, but you don't want to stuff plays up, you don't want to stuff sets up. And I think on the weekend he just said, you know what, I'm just going to get in there, rip and tear, and if I'm ruining sets or whatever, we can take care of that after the game. Clearly he wasn't ruining sets, but there was a real effort from him, you could tell, to just get in and get his hands on the ball. And I think when some fans, they'll see wingers or centres or whatever, and they'll just immediately think, oh, he's lazy, he's whatever. But all these players are the guns from where they grew up. Every single one of them, they want the ball and they want to have an involvement in the game as much as possible. A lot of the time, it's either down to game plan or it's down to lack of confidence that a winger or a centre doesn't come in and get as involved as much. And I think on the weekend we saw him just go, you know what, stuff it. I'm going to get my hands on the ball quite a lot. He was much better, much better.
Just having a look through his Q Cup stats last year, like it does seem to be every game there's one or two errors.
Yeah,
every game.
He's a big boy.
But the upside is so good that I think you can sort of, like we were talking about with Montoya the other day. You can wear one or two errors throughout the game if you're going to get that every week.
You ever want to see a player? It's Manu Butterfly.
Yep.
Everyone was like, you know what? You can have a one or two errors because we know what you can do. We'd rather you rampaging instead of scared to drop the ball. Whereas, as we've spoken about, the smaller wingers, you're like, no, mate, you can't afford to. You don't do what the big boys do. You can't afford to have errors. So hopefully they can slowly weed it out of his game. But I thought he was easily his best game since coming across. He was really, really good. As we said, Cam Munster, really good. It's going to be interesting. So 145 metres, 3 tackle breaks, a line break, 22 tackles. Their halves together missed 9 tackles, so that's going to be something that they probably need to work on quite a bit, because if they, Munster 22 tackles, 5 missed, Pezet 28 tackles, 4 missed. Not that Munster's ever a spot, but if that does continue, they will become spots and they'll have to do more work. Anything else? Quick shout out to Trent Lioro. He made 37 tackles with 0 misses.
Good bounce back. He was another one I thought last week. Tom Eisenhuth's in the extended squad. Is he going to hold on to his spot? I thought he did really well this week.
The one that sort of stood out for me, and I think it's a special mention, in a pretty tough start of the season, we'd all agree, for the Storm, particularly the middles and the yardage has been great. I thought Nick Meaney's been really good. He scored 4 tries in 4 games. He's running for 153 metres a game. I just think he's been extremely consistent. He's getting good yardage out of there. And look, he's never going to be a superstar at fullback, but every time there's a bust, he's supporting. He's always in the right place. He's safe under a high ball. I thought he's been terrific this season.
Sometimes when you're struggling with form, you just need players like that. That they're just going to rock up, rip in, low error count, get the job done, and then you build on top of that kind of thing.
And I mean, without putting the shoe in, put Nick Meaney in Canberra, I reckon your season's looking pretty different at the moment.
Canberra would give anything for Nick Meaney at the moment.
It's a good point. It's a good point. So, good win from Storm from the perspective of just get the win, build confidence. You're going to get your spine together eventually. From a wider bird's eye view, comparing it to Storm of yesteryear, they are quite a substantial space away from where they were the last few years. I mean, 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, they were breaking all sorts of records. They were unstoppable. And to be fair, Pappenhausen, Hughes, Munster and Grant haven't really been together since. But and also Storm fans, I understand you're missing a bunch of players. Like I'm not saying that at all, but I'm just saying even with the players back, I do think that they're not as polished as they have been in yesteryear.
As I said, I was having a look at the premiership favourites at the moment, and I was looking at Penrith and the Roosters, the 2 favourites, going, they've got more in them. We haven't seen the best one. Looking at Melbourne at $9, going, fuck, is that a little bit unders? I don't think this team, and I'm sure they'll pull my pants down and prove me wrong, but I'm not sure if they're in the top 5 teams that can win this comp. I'm really not.
Not right now. Right now.
Going to be an interesting 3 weeks for Melbourne. They've got Rabbitohs, Roosters, and Manly coming up.
Because for sure, Storm are missing players. I'm I 100% respect that. But, I mean, this is against a Tigers team that was bang average. And so it really will be a test of where the Storm are this next 3 weeks, because there are 3 teams that you don't want to be going up against when you're just struggling to find some form together. Now, the Storm truly are a side that when they get their spine together, all their money's in their spine.
Yeah.
When they get Pappenhausen back, hopefully comes back soon. When they get Hughes, Munster, Grant, they are a different team entirely.
And that's the risk you run, isn't it, of stacking your side around your spine, because when there are injuries, and I think it's quite remarkable that over the last 2 decades, how fortunate the Storm have been with durability around. You look at Cameron Smith, who retired a few years ago now, but hardly missed a game.
Yeah.
So much money tied up in him. Billy Slater, pretty durable across
Aside
his
from
career.
the end of his career, yeah.
Yeah, he was pretty durable most of the time. Cooper Cronk, extremely durable. But when it goes wrong, you start getting injuries to these players that you've invested around. The result is what we're seeing at the moment. Oof.
And when you have a look, I've said it before, but I think the other big factor, you mentioned the big 3, like a guy like Nelson, he didn't miss a game for his first 4.5 seasons, being that big body, and now you take him out of it. He's out for a few weeks. Brandon Smith, we've already spoken about the impact he's had. I'm not convinced that they've got the guys to be able to fill the gaps that they've lost completely.
Yeah. But a win's a win. Good on them. Good win. They can build on it. Now onto the Tigers. Johnny Bateman was good. I don't know. I like Brooks and Tigers. Please, just part ways. I'm sure Brooksy's a great bloke. I've never heard a person that knows Brooksy that says he's not a good bloke. But on the weekend, unfortunately, it's just not working. It is just not working. Brooksy had a pretty poor game, to be honest, at least for the first half. And as I've said every single week, I think there is a high. I mean, he's a Dally M halfback. There's a high quality football there. I don't know why the Tigers, and look, to everyone that I've spoken to, and this isn't 100% confirmation, but everyone I've spoken to has implied that Brooks would have been willing to go to another club if the Tigers were willing to let him go. And so when I hear that, I'm like, Tigers, just bite the bullet, let him be happy and play some footy somewhere else, bring someone else through at the Tigers. I just don't think it's working, man. I mean, it sounds stupid to say that because it hasn't been working for a long time, but at what point is enough for this poor bloke? I know he was the one that played poorly, so he has to take responsibility for that. But at what point do you go, mate, you know what? Go and do your thing, bro.
This is the last year of his contract.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they were talking about re-signing
We've had
him.
this conversation before.
Yeah.
I've been having this conversation with her for a decade.
And weren't they talking about re-signing him a few weeks ago? I'm pretty sure they were. Could you just maybe Google some of that?
If they re-sign him, is anyone surprised? Honestly?
No, I mean, no.
Common sense says won't happen.
They literally got rid of Hastings to basically said, no, Brooks is still our guy. Hastings, you're a 13, knowing that Hastings wasn't going to want to play 13. Hastings is not a 13.
They've won 2 of their last 24 games with Lou Brooks at halfback. It's not solely on him, but that's a hell of a lot.
Oh, man, that's tough.
And then what's so frustrating for us, Keith, your heart broke a little bit for him in that first 20 minutes where just everything that could go wrong did go wrong.
Yep.
And, we know how good he can be. And, there are far more intelligent footy heads out there who I've spoken to who are just he's still got so much to offer and he will excel at another club. He just needs to get out. And it's at the point now, you just want to see it. I'm sick of talking about it and saying shouldn't be there, needs to move on. Everyone needs a fresh start. Just let him go early. Nothing's going to change at the Tigers.
Well, you won the spoon last year.
Yeah.
So what's the point of keeping him?
Yeah.
Because it's you can't go any lower.
Yeah. And if you've brought Appy to the club, we've seen the impact that Appy's had on so many halfbacks throughout his career. I'd be saying to Appy, is he the guy you want at halfback or not? Is he going to make it work? And I'd be backing Appy's word in, see what he says.
And if they were to bite the bullet early and try and get rid of him this season, we know, because we know there's such good footballer in there and there are clubs who need a halfback, you'd get a good player swap deal for him.
Surely.
That'd be worthwhile going early for, not we need him to the end of this year. I would love to see him at another club. I'd love to see him kill it at the Tigers, but I just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Imagine a world where they swap Brooks for Clemmer. That would be a huge win in my opinion. Then you have Jacko playing 7, leading the team around Clemmer in the forward pack. That'd be unreal. But
Because they swapped Hastings for Clemmer, didn't they?
yeah,
Oh, fuck.
So back in January, Brooks said to the journos that there's been talks with the club about a potential new deal, but he's in no rush. So yeah, there was talk about it.
Fuck.
and I feel really sorry for Brooks. And I said it to you boys the other day. I genuinely think that if 8 years ago, whenever the hell it was, if Mitch Moses would have stayed and Luke Brooks would have gone to Parramatta, I think Luke Brooks right now is a really successful halfback. I think Mitch Moses would be a train wreck as well.
Mate, it is like, and look, I know people sitting there going, are you serious? He's on over $1 million. How can you feel sorry for this bloke? And I get that. I totally do. And I don't feel sorry from that perspective. He's getting paid good coin. But how much he's getting paid doesn't make it easier to just consistently lose, not work out, be the fall guy. Even when you do say you'd be willing to go somewhere else, they say, no, we'd rather keep you. It's got to happen. It's got to happen. It's getting too far. For both people, for the Tigers, let them move forward. Let Luke Brooks move forward.
It's hard to work out who it would be better for, Brooksy or the Tigers.
It's bizarre to me.
Like there's going to be no losers to come out of that divorce. Just make it happen.
Well, Clemmer would have been a perfect swap because you would have kept Hastings for one, but for two, Clemmer, what's he on, like 700, 800K? So the contract is around the same. The Tigers might have had to chip in 200K a year, which you would have copped to keep inside. That's what I don't... Oh, man. I mean, to be fair, we said this when it happened. We would have kept Hastings, and I think...
Mate, the evidence was there 2 weeks ago against Newcastle. Jacko comes out, loses his 5'8", loses his hooker, plays with hardly any players left on the fucking field. Newcastle get the job done.
Somehow.
Like, that was it. If you swap Hastings and Brooks over in that game, I think Tigers go 13 plus. I really do.
It's tough. And also, like, if Appy Coruscant is the man you're going to build that spine around. So everything should be down to Appy, what do you want? Because he's the guy. He's won premierships. He knows what it takes. He's led multiple teams. Well, not led, but he has been a key part in multiple teams' premiership.
Not far off leading.
Well, he didn't lead the Rabbitohs to a premiership.
Fair, okay.
Yeah, but that's... Yeah. I'm just protecting myself from the internet. Because I know that comment was already there. Lead, you serious? Anyway. And so... Appy's got to be the guy that you lean on.
I think it was Matty, actually.
Yeah, he's about to write that. I mean, even look at the bench. Something happened, and Robbie Farrell went and put his head up and was like, oh, my God, bro. Anyway, so let's try to talk about some positives.
Bateman, wow.
Bateman is an absolute beast. Isaiah Papali'i getting through a bunch of work. He's not as destructive as he was obviously the Eels, but I think it'll come when they build some combinations. I know I was going to say we're going to speak about positives, but Adam Dewey at fullback, not sure if that's the solution to the situation.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if it's a problem either, to be honest with you. That's the thing, though. If you were to not play Brooks next week, what do you do then? Do you move Dewey back into...
And then Wakeham goes to 7.
Wakeham 7? Because that's the other thing as well. Like, you know who else looked pretty handy last year? Jock Madden. Let him go as well.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
I'll tell you what I did love that the Tigers did on the weekend. They didn't pigeonhole John Bateman to sit on the right edge.
Yeah.
They let him roam, and I thought he looked really dangerous. I'd be playing him at 13, I think, personally, and I'd just be giving him full throttle to do whatever he can do.
Yeah, I was pretty against that because I think that he's so good on edge. But with this team's makeup, and Bole is a good player. Is he a 13 yet? I don't know if he's ready to be a ball-playing 13. So it's like, okay, we don't have a ball-playing 13 in our side. What do we have? We've got a guy that can cause havoc whenever he touches the ball. Let's just get him in the middle so he can touch the ball as much as possible. He can call plays. He can direct people to where he wants to get to. I think it's the smart thing to do to move Bateman there. And I was initially against it, thinking that they would have settled on a 13 that was a 13 ball player.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like they have.
And if I'm playing the Tigers, I would much rather see Bateman on the edge than at 13. He's much easier to handle there.
Just give him the ball.
In this team.
Yeah, just get the ball in his hands.
Yeah.
He's so important to them. I guess the good thing is that, well, let's hope that Johnny can drag everyone with him, because he's doing everything he can at the moment. And let's hope that they all kind of get behind him, I guess, because at the moment, unfortunately, it just... look, in their defence, keeping the Storm to 24 at the Storm's home ground isn't terrible. Like, it's not, something to write home about, but it's not terrible either. Like, they didn't get blown out at Storm's home ground. But
I look at, again, it's always tough going down to Melbourne, as we know, but a 78% completion by the Tigers, not too bad.
Not bad.
It's certainly a pass mark.
Same amount of missed tackles too, basically.
Yeah, but then the Titans put 40 on them last week. 2 tries. One was Appy Coruscant kicking through for himself without completion. Essentially 1 try through ball playing, and that was Johnny Bateman crabbing across field.
Yeah. Which isn't necessarily like ball playing.
That's
it's just like
Johnny Bateman being Johnny Bateman having a crack.
And realistically, I think the Appy try, a more experienced fullback, that try doesn't happen.
It's tough. I feel sorry for Tigers fans. Like, I don't know what we could get up here and pretend like, oh no, well this is good. Unfortunately, they're the only team that they haven't won a game, have they?
No, and mate, I've got so much respect for Tigers fans because you can literally see in the comments how their attitude has changed over the last few years. That they can all see it now. Mm-hmm. I think it makes it harder to watch.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Anyway, hopefully Big Johnny can drag them forward. Appy Coruscant as well. At least their recruits, Appy Coruscant, Sua'ali'i and Bateman are all, and even Clement to a degree, 131 metres, 31 tackles, 0 misses. Worked his ass off. So at least their recruits are like ripping in. That's a positive, because the last thing you'd want is them to rock up and be like, yeah, it's his retirement, I'm just going to chill.
And that's it can be like, I don't think, a lot of the time, I don't think it's as such blokes not having a crack. I think they're having a crack. They're all just on a different page to each other.
Yeah, they're not hunting as a pack.
No.
They're not getting to certain points in the field. Like, even Stefano had some real strong carries. Like, they all rip in, but there's just no direction.
Yeah.
Brisbane in Brisbane next Saturday night for the Tigers.
I will say Brisbane have been so, like, their own worst enemy. You just don't know with them. We'll get to Brizzy because
Bogey game for the Bronx, Tigers.
Yeah, got towed up last year.
Yeah.
And we've made both games, Dragons and Dolphins, super difficult for ourselves. Anyway, we'll get to that. But yeah, so look, hopefully they can get all that energy, bring it together. Because, like, I think Tim Sheens came out and said Dane Laurie may stay at 14.
Well, didn't he also mention after the game that Johnny Bateman might have an injury? Did you guys see that?
Oh, no. I didn't see that.
But he wouldn't, as per usual.
Oh, yeah, actually, they didn't want to reveal it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Johnny, they didn't want to reveal what the injury was.
Tell your fans what's going on, for fuck's sake. Just do them some form of a favour.
What do you reckon the odds are, Bronx Tigers next week?
$4 Tigers.
Garrett?
I'm looking at it, so I won't cheat.
Oh. Yeah, good get. $3.90. Yeah. I thought that would have been well more.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Just had a look. Tigers have won their last 4 against the Bronx.
Oh, well, that's probably why.
And also just the way the Broncos are playing, it is like, if they just get a team that completes high against them and is decent, they'll lose. They'll lose. Because like, it's awesome being at the top of the table, and we have these explosive moments and these crazy exciting games, and our defense is really good. But when you actually watch the Broncos play, you're going, mate, we should have put the Dolphins away by 13 plus on the weekend. And that's a credit to Dolphins' incredible grit. But like the amount of times that we were just trying to build pressure and then we just dropped the ball. Anyway.
I reckon that some of your young guys might really get up for this one.
Our young guys?
Yeah, I just reckon they'll see this game coming and go, fuck, we can put on a show here.
But that's the problem. They need to just build pressure.
Yeah, but I reckon they'll get away with it against the Titans. Anyway, we'll see.
Now let's get to the Dolphins. Broncos defeat the Dolphins 18-12. Craziness. The Broncos had 46% possession and they completed at 67%. So they had no right to win the game. The only reason they do probably win the game is because of the talent they have in their roster, but also because of the injuries that happened to the Dolphins. We'll talk about the Dolphins first. Wayne Bennett has proven that if you recruit really good blokes that can play footy solidly, you can get a good quality side out of them. Whereas if you recruit a bunch of prima donnas or whatever, it can completely destabilise a whole squad. This Dolphins side, even at full strength, on paper, and that's what's frustrating sometimes, not frustrating, but I get frustrated personally, when a lot of fans now, they're judging the Dolphins off the fact that they're 3 from 4, when we are forgetting going into the season, everyone said their roster was not even NRL standard. Now, all of a sudden, people are saying, oh, they've got 3 premiership winners and they've played 1,000 games together. It's like, that was not the narrative at the start of the year. It's changed because they've played so well together under Wayne Bennett. But no one was talking about that at the start of the year. No one was saying that they got a bunch of premiership winners. No one was saying that their backlines played X amount of games. People are only saying that now because the Dolphins are beating your side. You weren't saying that before the start of the year. Anyway, because I'm just like, let's remember what everyone was saying at the start of the year. It's the age-old keep the same energy. This whole changing the narrative of like, oh, well, they're experienced, gritty, and that's why they did it. No, let's give credit to this team and organisation for what they're doing. It is unbelievable. It is phenomenal. The guts that they showed on the weekend to lose a Sean O'Sullivan, to already have lost Katoa, to have the players out that they've got out with Jerry Marshall-King, and to do what they did at Suncorp, I know that it's a technically Dolphins home ground, but it's Broncos home ground. To do it against the Broncos, who are currently top of the table with one of the best on paper squads, was absolutely phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Without Felice Kafusi, huge. Absolutely
JMK,
huge.
Felice Kafusi, Sean O'Sullivan goes off, Katoa's out. Phenomenal.
Unbelievable. Yeah, and I think sometimes, and you spoke about it last week when we spoke about the Titans, sometimes you can tell more about a team from a loss than a win. And I thought that this Dolphins side, I took so much from the game the other night. They had no right to be in that game. I know that, Tony Staggs runs the length of the field at the end of the game. That's all good and well, but it's 14-12 in the last 2 minutes at Brisbane, and they're without their halfback, they're without their 5'8".
Incredible.
And they're in the game.
It's incredible. It's seriously like...
And I've seen heaps worse kicks get forced dropouts.
It was the right kick.
It was the right kick.
It was the right kick.
Angle was slightly off.
It was the only difference was Staggs just happened to be in the right spot.
Yep.
And it just landed there. Like, it was the right kick. They are super tough to take. The Broncos, I mean, you look at their bench, like Cody Nikorima, Jared Wallace, Mark Nichols, the Dolphins, the Rabbitohs may have tried to sign him, maybe not. I don't think anyone, he was good for the Rabbitohs, but Jared Wallace, the Titans literally refused to play him last year. Ray Stone, the Eels love him, but I don't think they tried to re-sign him. Nikorima, I don't think, there was a ton of people lining up to sign Nikorima. I know he ended up getting HIA'd, but was it HIA'd or injured? He played 2 minutes. So we didn't even mention him. They lost Sean O'Sullivan. They lost their utility on the bench. They were playing most of the game with 16 players. What they're doing is absolutely phenomenal. It is absolutely phenomenal. Hamiso has just gone from strength to strength to strength. Some of the plays that he did, it is super impressive. They had no right to be in that game when you look at their squad on paper, and yet they were in it till the death. Till the death.
I remember standing at the live show with you two and saying, it'll be interesting to see what the Dolphins do at 9. They've only got Nikorima. They haven't named Donahue. About 20 minutes later, I checked the team list. They've named Mason Teague at hooker.
Yeah.
They're making it work with what they've got, and they're making the absolute best out of what they've got. And I said it last week, but it's just such a good reminder that rugby league is a simple game.
It really is.
You've all got 2 arms. You've all got 2 legs. If you stick to your game plan, you kick to your corners, you complete your sets, you can compete in any game.
And that's what I mean. I know, it's when you're a fan and your team leaks a bunch of points, it's really easy to have excuses or whatever. The Dolphins are proving that you can keep a team to 18 points, 16 points, just through sheer grit and determination.
It was a HIA, by the way.
HIA. And so they're proving that, the excuses of, we were missing this guy or that guy, it's like, the Dolphins are, in their first season, missing a ton of players, losing players mid-game, and still managing to keep the Broncos 2 minutes away from beating them.
There is no one in their backline that was a starting player in the NRL last year in the backline.
I know, and I said that last week, and people try to push back on it because I said they're reserve graders. I'm not saying that they're reserve graders now. Last year, all of them, every single one, was not playing in the backline last year. The only player that was starting most times was Ewan Aiken in the back row. That's it.
All the rest of them were not first choice players at the club they were at last year, which for half of them was the Broncos who they were playing.
Yeah, it's crazy. Jermaine Asako, he was playing. He probably wasn't going to get signed next year. Tessie New got released early from the club. Brenko Lee, what was he even doing last year?
I think there's a really fair argument, respectfully to those guys, that there's a lot of them that if the Dolphins weren't coming in this year,
They don't get a club.
They're in England.
100%. 100%. And it proves that sometimes players just need the right coach to bring out the best in them. And you're seeing
very early, obviously 4 games in Kempy, but just another notch on Wayne Bennett's incredible belt, isn't it? Like, it just shows that there's potentially every other coach in the NRL, maybe not all of them, but would be sharper footy minds around the technical side of the game, your shapes, getting the ball around the park, all that. But player management, being a man manager means so much more than anything that you can teach a bloke technically, because, as you said, Guru, it's a simple game at the end of the day. And what Wayne Bennett has made a career of for many decades is just getting blokes to get up for him. And this group of the Dolphins, they're so united. There's so much belief there that they can win any game that is put in front of them. It's been tremendous to watch unfold.
Jared Wallace took it to Payne Haas. Think about that. And I love Jay Wall. I love him. He had a try, a crucial try, 131 metres, 53 post contact, 6 tackle breaks, a line break, and then he had 4 offloads. Jared Wallace, a guy that literally couldn't buy a start at the Gold Coast Titans. That's what, I say it all the time. I think there is enough talent out there. There's just not enough good systems and coaching to bring the best out of these boys.
We spoke about it briefly at the live show the other day. I stand by it. If I'm the 18th club coming to the NRL, I throw whatever it is at Wayne Bennett.
Seriously.
I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you die halfway through the contract. You come here. I just want you around.
Yeah.
I want you
Build the
walking
culture.
around the change room and build the culture.
It's crazy. It is crazy. It's honestly insane. Like Tom Gilbert, he was good at the Cowboys. He's been a superstar at the Dolphins, ripping it. If you want to see what the Dolphins are about, watch Tom Gilbert chase Katoni Staggs at the death of the game. We're talking about a bloke that's played 66 minutes. He's had 14 runs, 124 metres. He's made 40 tackles. The game is done. And he is chasing all the way to the death Katoni Staggs, who is obviously quick. It is amazing what they're achieving. I think Jesse Bromwich deserves a massive rap for what he's doing. He shows you that, how many people last year, and I'll be honest too, even me watching Jesse Bromwich last year, I was like, I think physically he may be past, what he can deliver. Maybe he could be a bench forward. He proves once again why he's one of the great forwards of this generation. Goes to the Dolphins, and the leadership that he has shown, the way he has played, it is absolutely. We haven't even mentioned Tessie New was playing on one leg. His knee was busted. He couldn't even run pretty much. And he did that try-saving tackle. It's amazing.
Hammer a bloke, granted very early in his career, but known for his highlight reel moments, his blistering speed, probably not necessarily the hard yak in recent years at the Cowboys. Week after week, putting out big numbers, 216 metres, 18 runs, no line breaks there, just hard-earned metres.
It's so good to see. And that's Broncos won the game, Dolphins won the battle, in my opinion. When you're talking about what's on paper and who should be delivering what, it was amazing from the Dolphins.
Could you imagine if they did get a Munster? What would we be sitting here saying? If they had that genuine, and maybe they don't need it, I don't know, but if they had that genuine game breaker who can just win a game like that out of absolutely nothing, like what Munster can, like what Nath can, all these guys, what would we be saying about them?
Oh, mate.
Interesting to see now how they go. Obviously, we've sort of spoken about when a few injuries do pile up, what's the depth play, how they're going to handle it. So far, that they've been managed without Jeremy Marshall-King, a key player there, Sean O'Sullivan gone, who's been outstanding this year. Milf is going to have to stand up. Solid on the weekend. Milf with Isaiah Katoa, so hopefully Isaiah's back. He hopefully it was a shoulder injury or something quite small. He was close to playing this week, but Milf and Katoa long term, so another big challenge for them.
Look, as long as they can just keep battling like this, are they going to make the 8? Maybe. I don't think they will. But if they keep doing performances like this and you go out to try and recruit players in the coming years, it's easier to recruit because you go, mate, look what we're doing with our roster. If you come, there is think about this. It's 18-12 at Suncorp against a Broncos team atop the table. We're talking about the Brisbane Broncos. The talent on our roster is outrageous. We've got one of the best front rowers we've ever seen. We've got Reece Walsh in his career best form. We've got forwards like Paddy Carrigan, future captain of this country. You don't like when you look at that roster. You got Tony Staggs, Origin player, Selwyn Cobbo, the next big thing. The roster is absolutely phenomenal, and we kept them 18-12. So great stuff by the Dolphins.
Tell you what's going to be super exciting. Obviously, Sean O'Sullivan's going to be out for a few weeks. Isaiah Katoa, he's going to be playing halfback. I would assume he'll be the 7. Next 2 weeks, they go Dragons, Cowboys, Souths, Titans, Raiders. There's some winnable games in there for this side.
Which is crazy because you wouldn't say that at the start of the year, you know. We wouldn't be sitting there going, they could go, 3 from 5 or something
outside
like that.
of probably the Souths game, which Wayne will have them up for. You know he will.
Really good stuff.
Yeah.
Really good. Just so good for rugby league. So good. And it's a lesson to all the other clubs out there that try to use excuses about rosters and this and that.
Yeah.
It's why when the Broncos were struggling, I was harsh because I'm like, this is not good enough. Absolutely not good enough.
I can't believe you haven't mentioned it yet, but you might have been 12 kryptonites deep to miss it. But
I know what you're going to say.
Mark Nichols, wow, what a try saver.
And like again, the epitome of the bloke that Wayne Bennett likes to sign. Like, is he the huge hulking forward? No, but he's a battler, and to the death he's going to battle, and he did. Saved the game. Literally saved the game.
I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah. And the irony was like, you've got Marky Nichols who's battled his whole career. Just battle. Resi, first grader eventually. Then you've got Selwyn Cobbo who is gifted by the gods with this unbridled talent. The battler wins the battle.
Wasn't it? That was iconic. The slow-mo image of him ripping that out of his hand.
Just doing that.
The hand of God.
The hand of God.
The hand of the goat.
Mate, unbelievable. So great from the Dolphins. Now on to the Broncos. It's a mixture of a bit disappointing from the Broncos, and also the Dolphins were unbelievably gutsy. When you're in derbies like that and you can get the win, it's a little bit different to other games because like maybe the Dolphins were up for it because it was a derby. They had so much more to play for. So you can kind of excuse the closer score, even though on paper the Broncos should probably win 13 plus. And I know people are going to be like offended by that, but at the start of the year, you would have said Broncos would win 13 plus on paper. It's only because the Dolphins have done what they've done that you say that they shouldn't. And so completing at 67% is just, it's not good enough. We battled for each other. We hung in there, So it's a mixed bag for me. I'm stoked that we got the win. It's a derby. We're 4 from 4. But if we don't clean this game up, if we don't play an 80 minutes game of football like we did against the Penrith Panthers, and even then you could argue last 10 minutes we struggled. There are a few sleeping giant clubs in this competition that once they find their stride will absolutely put us to the torch if we keep rocking up like we have against the Dragons and the Dolphins, and it just expected our superstars to go, you know what, something out of the arse. It was Payne Haas last week. It was Tony Staggs this week. We need to just be a bit more patient, do the hard yards, instead of always just relying on our superstars. So I'm stoked about the win. We worked our asses off, but we need to sort out our completion rate, and we need to sort out just thinking that we can score off every play. Just build pressure. We've got one of the arguably the best kicker of the last 20 years, arguably. Just let him take care of it. Just let him take care of it, guys. We will get the points at the end of the game. So stoked we won. Mixed bag for sure, but a win's a win.
I'm hesitant to put too much emphasis or weighting on games that have a lot of emotion in them. Games like this, like I feel sorry for Brisbane who, took on a Dolphins side that's tenacious as all hell and would have been up for this one. Like this is the game that would have meant more to Wayne than anything, without a doubt. He would have had them up. I feel the same for Manly. Took on a South Sydney side the week that John Sattler passes away. It's always going to be a very, very tough gig, but it's the fact that you did the same thing last week against St George.
Oh, if it was a one-off
That's
game.
where it starts to worry you, doesn't it? That's where you go, okay, they have got something to sort out there, but hates me to say it, but fuck, there is such a good footy team there if they put it together.
Mate,
it's scary.
When they put it together, it is unbelievable. Like you're sitting there going, who stops this? But it's a matter of putting it together for 80 minutes. Yep. That's the problem. Also, like, if it was 18-12 and we completed at 80%, I would go, yeah, okay, it's the 67% completion rate. It's like, in a derby, come on, boys. But
Penrith
still good win.
Penrith at low 4s to win the comp. Roosters at $6. Brisbane are at $7.50. The third.
if it comes together, that's the thing with the Broncos that I think people like. It could all go pear-shaped if we keep playing like this, and we could just completely dive out. But if we get it together, we genuinely we go from, in my mind, I don't think we're a premiership threat right now. But if we get it together, we absolutely could win a comp this year.
I originally looked at it and went, Brisbane 750. Fuck. Are they serious? And then I thought, fuck, there's a world where we're sitting here in September going, gee, 750 was good value.
Yeah, it's good value.
They've put it together.
They just need to put it together for 80
As
minutes.
we know, Kempy, on field's hasn't been the issue the last few years. It's keep things in order off the field, keep a happy, united club. We just spoke about the Dolphins and how great an organisation they are at the moment. If the Broncos stick strong and there's no off-field drama, there's no reason why they can't go all the way.
Like with the roster they've got, seriously, they've just got to get it all together for 80 minutes. They really do. And I agree with you, Guru. Like if this was just like a one-off game where, we dropped a few balls, whatever, but you go back to the Dragons game and all the way up to the 10th minute, I think, were they winning?
Yeah, they were in front with like 20 to go.
With 15 to go or whatever. And so the Dolphins
looked better.
Looked better.
It wasn't just winning, they looked better, yeah.
And it was 14-12 with essentially 3 or 4 minutes to go against the Dolphins, which isn't behind, but it's also like, boys, we should be more than 14-12 up with everything that the Dolphins have had to deal with. But the positives, though, let's get to the positives. Jesse Arthurs, for me, he's just been so good. Like, just to give it an opportunity on the wing there, I think he's super underrated. And I think that it just shows you the depth that we have right now in the outside backs. Like, for example, the Eels, I reckon, would kill for a guy like Jesse Arthurs. Like him, imagine him in the centres for the Eels. He would kill it. And so I think the Eels should probably try to go after him for one, because he's not going to beat Corey Oates at the moment. But he had 2 line breaks, 174 metres, 3 tackle breaks, a try. But what I loved the most was Katoni Staggs. Yeah, he had his big moment. We all know he has the big moments. It's the amount of work he got through, the aggressive running. That's what I want to see. He had 16 runs. Herbie Farnworth had 17 runs. Like, that's what you want to see from your centres.
And not just 1 week of it, Kemby, as well. Our whole pre-season we spoke so much about Katoni Staggs and we wanted more involvement. Came out week 1, had 2 runs, and we were like, no, like it was too bad to be true.
Yeah.
And then he's gone round 2, 13 runs, round 3, 14 runs, round 4, 16 runs.
So good.
Having a crack, reaping the rewards.
Yeah. Selwyn Cobbo, he hurts me heart. 3 errors, and he has these incredible moments where you go, wow. But then you have these other moments, like the moment when he didn't jump for the ball and didn't go for it because I don't know why. That's not what being a Bronco's about. And so, oh man, he's so good. He's so talented. Like he is the face of NRL for the next 10 years. He just needs to, I just worry that, is he fully committed at the moment? Is he fully concentrated on what he's doing? Because he is unbelievably talented. And the amount of times you see these things happen around him where you're going, how? How does that happen? And so he still ran for 176 metres. He had 18 runs. He had 6 tackle breaks. He had 2 line breaks, 4 tackles and 0 misses. So he's a superstar. I just wish just clean the rough edges a little bit.
Oh, yeah. I can only imagine how frustrating it is for you, because I sit there sometimes and from listening to you talk, I see him do things and I do the same thing. I go, oh, geez, that's not Broncos. And the next day I go, oh, fuck, you're Steve Renoff. That's right. You can do fucking anything.
Literally anything.
It's so frustrating to sit there and watch him because he's just got so much ability.
Crazy ability. Like, I know he gets likened to Latrell and GI, but and there may be parts of Latrell's game and GI's game that Selwyn doesn't have yet, but the gritty runs he does out of our end, I don't know if GI and Trell were doing that as much at such a young age. Yeah. And again, I'm not saying he's better than them at that age. I'm just saying, like, that's a part of his game that maybe he was a little bit stronger in. Like, GI, you could say maybe he was more of a big game player or whatever, but he's a superstar. He's an absolute superstar. He's just the concentration. Because, like, you had that this week where he just didn't jump for the ball. And then last week, he just basically switched off and had a try scored on him purely from just standing there. Like, he just stopped. And so that's a concentration thing. That's where you just like lose concentration for a second. But then he does things that are absolutely phenomenal. Like even the strip from Marky Nichols, like great play from Marky Nichols, but you got to have more ball security than that going over the line, surely. And what's crazy is in that one play, What he did was absolutely phenomenal. Bumping Hamiso like that, I think it was Hamiso, and then jumping over. Like, who can do that? It's crazy.
So
He's so good. He's so good. So, I don't know. Timmy, what do you reckon, mate?
Hard act to follow that one, mate. Unreal. I've spoken about him every week because I love the bloke, but Reece Walsh had 10 line assists in 3 games this season.
Phenomenal.
It's like, we know you've got firepower there. You know there'll be blokes who'll make line breaks and run over the top of fellas. But the silk of him at fullback for you, he's getting better and better and better.
Mate, he is the speed that he hits quickly out of nowhere. Defense is it's almost like they just lose their minds. Like, it is crazy what he does every time. You know it's coming. I mean, I hate to make comparisons, but he reminds me of a young KP.
Absolutely.
Where he just hits that speed and defenders go, what the fuck is going on there? Wingers start jamming in because they think that their centre's not going to cover him. He is so silky. Very
rarely gets the wrong... When he has that 3-on-2, very rarely makes the wrong decision. And that's what's so KP about him for me, because it was such a tough thing to do for a young bloke. You're going to get them wrong, but all the time.
Fucking nails it. He absolutely nails it. Couple of errors, so again, needs to keep that to 1 a game, I would hope. Payne Haas, I mean, do we have to even fucking mention it? The guy's a machine. He's an absolute machine. Curdy Catewell. What about Curdy Catewell hitting the afterburners? Bloody hell. Jesse Arthurs couldn't gas Hamiso, but Curdy Catewell could. Stop it.
How good was that ball playing by Adam Reynolds too?
Oh, man, so silky.
Just let Branko scoot up and got caught in no man's land playing through the line. So good.
Yeah, so, look, the only thing I would say from our edges is our edge back rowers. We missed, so Kurt Capewell 8 tackles and Jordan Ricky 5. Just got to be a bit tighter on that, especially when you compare it to, say, like a Hoskins who made 54, missed 0. And look, every game is different, so maybe they were dealing with more traffic or more plays on them, but hopefully we can bring that down a bit. To be fair, Kurt Capewell made 39 tackles, Jordan Ricky made 34, so not a huge negative, but you'd want to keep them down if you could. But, you know, in saying everything we just said, the Broncos are still on top of the table. So we are putting ourselves in a position to play finals footy this year.
Just having a look back at 2007, you didn't play in the game, you were in the squad though. Gold Coast Titans finished 12th that year. It was the first time they ever played Brisbane, and they beat them at Suncorp.
They beat them at Suncorp?
Yep, round 5, about the same time.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been in the squad then because I wouldn't have debuted. I played them the next time, and I think we beat.
Did you?
Yeah, that's Lockie's field goal. The next
of course,
time.
yeah. Was that the hit
Yeah,
the
post,
that was crazy, yeah. But I mean, yeah, like the Titans, they're obviously playing Big Brother, first opportunity to play them, really get up for that one. So just another example of those emotion games.
Yeah.
It's hard to take a heat from them, in my opinion.
Yeah, so it's going to be what I want from Broncos next game. Who do we play next, Matty? I just want high completion.
Tigers.
High completion. Give me 85% completion rate. Because the Broncos on paper squad is so hectic that it's just like, you'll get the points.
And Kemby, this is a great game for, as I said, looking for what you're after. The Tigers, every reason to go in complacent.
Yeah.
You're 4-4, they're 0-4. You just don't want them to go and go, we can score off every play and all that. Knuckle down.
Yep.
You don't have to win by 40. That being said, if you do complete high and just play through the middle, play centrally, you probably will.
Yeah.
Great test in that regard.
Yeah. And if I'm Kevy, that's all I'm drumming. If I'm Adam Reynolds, boys, let's just complete high. Don't worry about anything else. Don't worry about offloads. Don't worry about line breaks. We know we can get them. We can get them anytime we want. When the Broncos are all firing together, I think they're the best attacking team in the comp right now, form-wise, when they're all firing together, especially with Reece Walsh at the back. Far out. I mean, we haven't even talked about Ezra Mann. So it's just about high completion rate, the little things.
You're one of those teams that if you can start well, which you are, and you seemingly will continue to, in the last 10 weeks of the season, you've got 3 buys. Good spot to be.
Yeah, absolutely. We could have got our 3 wins last year if we had
First buys in round 16, then round 19, and then you got one around 25, 2 weeks before finals start. So couldn't be placed much better than that. And you've pretty much got a buy in round 26 against the Raiders. So you're sitting pretty, mate.
Yeah, it's a fair point, Guru. That's a great point. Great point there. So, yeah, look, the positive is we are, because we go West, Canberra, Gold Coast. I mean, we should on paper win those games. Now, I'm not saying we definitely will, but we should on paper win those games. Anyway, so super exciting. Well done to the boys. On top of the table. Can't complain in regards to where we are. We've given ourselves a good opportunity. Now it's about just fixing the rough edges and we'll be good.
Isn't the month after that going to be unreal for Brisbane? They go Parramatta, South, Manly, Melbourne, Penrith. That's some great footy coming up there.
Fuck. And that's the thing. We can prepare for that. Like, if we take care of the rough edges over the next few weeks, and you can afford to make an error here or there because you're against teams that aren't at the top tier, and you go into those games being confident about your completion rate, your tackling, your errors, your decision-making in big moments, then you go into those games confident.
Actually grounds Brisbane Manly too. How good's that worked out?
No, it does it every year. Last year we obviously went on with Hello Sport.
Yeah.
Beat them fucking like 50-4 or some shit. Towel them up. All right, anyway, good stuff with the Brisbane Broncos. As I said, a few things to clear up, but at the end of the day, as a Broncos fan, you can't ask for much more. We're on top of the table. And the only reason I talk about the completion rate and the 70 minutes against the Dragons is because we are no longer a side that is happy to make the finals. We should be pushing towards premiership threat. That's how good this side is on paper. Also, I forgot to, little tidbits from punting brought to you by Sportsbet. Forgot to say it earlier in the show. The overs fund didn't last long for punters. 7 of the 8 games on the weekend going under the total match points. Dragons versus Sharks, last game of the round, the only game to go over. It was a good week for footy tipping and favourite backers. 6 from the 8 favourites won. No wonder Matty won it. No wonder. Just backs the favourites. It was even split at the line, though, going 4-4. Backing home underdogs proving profitable this season. There's been 13 home underdogs so far this season. 8 of those have won the game and 9 covered against the start. If you had $10 on every home game underdog head-to-head, you'd be up $109.50. Broncos into $7.50 to win the comp and have commanded their own first loss market. West now $2.25 to win the spoon. Still $5.50 on offer for the Dragons. $2.25. That's short. To win the spoon.
It's round 5.
Oh, that's short.
We're not even, what are we, a sixth of the way through the season?
That's so short for round 4. It's round 4.
Yeah, fair.
You know?
Round 4.
So we're even. Oh, wow. Anyway, brought to you by Sportsbet. Obviously, gamble responsibly, guys. Make sure you win some, but you lose a lot more. Now let's get into Storm. Sorry, not Storm. Jesus. Let's get into Cowboys v. the Titans. Moe Fodawaker was great, as you said. Cowboys defeat the Titans. Look, this was this is an interesting one because even though the Titans lost, I actually got more out of this and more impressed for the Titans than I did last week. Now, it is great to beat the Storm, and there's no denying that. And I'm sure fans 100% would be way rather get a win than a loss. But I thought the Titans showed some guts, grit. They lost Foran, they lost Brimo, and they hung in there. And I think that, the Titans, we hadn't really seen that for quite a while. It's not really associated with the Titans. The Titans more about attacking footy. I think the Titans fans should be incredibly proud with that. They're away up in North Queensland. The Cowboys were desperate for a win. So for both clubs, Cowboys getting on the board, get the win, but also Titans, good on them. They dug in. They had a red-hot crack, and it's as close to being happy with a loss that you can get.
For sure. Throw on top of Brimson, Foz. Sam Verrills wasn't there either. So that's, out of their first choice spine, they only had one of the guys there. Sound bad again.
Sound like Hermit Frog.
Might have liked it. I thought for the Titans, a really good, and I agree with you. I think we learned a lot more about the Titans this week than what we did last week. And I know people got upset in the comments last week. We know you can attack. I don't care. We want you to defend like this. I know they conceded 24, but I genuinely thought, and I was only on the tip of the Titans, I thought at the 25-minute mark, fuck, I'm going to be the smuggest motherfucker in the world on Monday, because I genuinely thought the Titans were all over the Cowboys in that game. To lose those two, though, very hard to come back from that. I think the Titans are heading in a really good direction. I genuinely do. I don't know if they're going to be a top 8 team or anything, but I think they're going to be a much bigger headache to a lot of teams than what we probably anticipated.
So good, wasn't it, just to see the ticker from them. As you said, we copped a bit last week after they won, and we were sort of a little bit down on them just because they still conceded 34, 36 points, whatever it was, against the Storm. I mean, it was 24 this week against the Cows, but they're up 8-0 early, You lose Foz, you lose Brimo, probably your two best players. Straight after that all happened, it was Nanai strolled through Aaron Clark, who had to go and defend as the three-man, playing in the halves. Like, that doesn't happen if Foz stays there and the injuries don't happen. So I thought it was a really good showing from the Titans, and they were just showing that grit and that determination to, all right, backs against the wall, we're not going to fold. And they're right in this game, and you know, Guru, as you said, you tipped them and you're pretty bullish after 20 minutes. I think if them two stay fit, they probably go on and win this game. So you don't take a heap away from the Cows. They got the job done against what was in front of them. But, yeah, I think Titans fans will be pretty happy with that one.
Yeah, as you said, the Nanai one against was when Foz came off. But then you look at even the Chester one. That was like deflections, shit going everywhere. And I know people don't like to talk about what ifs, maybes or whatever, but like you can't defend against that. That's just shit that happens. And sometimes it falls away, sometimes it doesn't. So even the score could have really been 16-12, maybe 14-12 to the Cowboys still. With losing Brimo, with losing Foz, I really liked what I saw from the Titans. And this is now the second game this season where I've seen a lot of grit from the Titans. So I think we're seeing progress. I think we're seeing a side that understands their shortcomings, understands where they need to be better. They seem like they're playing for each other. Now
Kempy, back it up for us. Back it up with another gritty performance.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if you can keep to 18 or less sort of points, just back it up.
I know it's easy to say, and I know the Dolphins have Wayne Bennett, so there is that. But look what the Dolphins are doing. Like, you know, that it can be done. And also, look what you're doing. You've lost your players. You're away in Townsville. You're against a Cowboys side that is absolutely desperate for a win. On paper, the Cowboys side is amazing, outside of obviously losing Drinkwater. I really liked it. I really, really did like it.
Speaking of backing it up, see how they play next week. Got the bye.
That's right.
Fuck.
Back it up in round 6. Just back it up in round 6.
And so, yeah, with they lost Brimo minute 24. Like, it's basically a whole bloody game. And also, when was the last try scored for? So while Brimo was on the field and while Foran was on the field, Cowboys hadn't scored a try. I think it's good stuff from Titans now. In regards to individual efforts, like even their recruitment has shown to be good. Like being able to bring a guy like Chris Randall in with Verrills out. Randall's good. He'll get the job done. He's not, he's not Harry Grant, and maybe he may grow into a great hooker. But at the moment, he's a good, solid number 9 that can come in and do a job when you need him to.
And I think you need to remember, like, as good as Randall went, he's their third choice hooker because Booth is out as well. Who they've, obviously put a year or two into him, and he looks like a really talented guy. I thought Fafita was unreal, mate. Some of the stuff he did.
How good, like Staggs was saying all pre-season, we just want to see him take some tough carries. 16 runs, but I felt like 4 of them were tough as nails carries where he just rolled up the sleeves and took one coming off their line when they needed him to. Hasn't, like, his attitude come on leaps and bounds in the off-season.
Yeah, and you just wonder, is it because he's got a settled halves pairing inside him, or is it because, he's personally gone away? Because, like, his game has changed. Like, it's not a matter of, he's just playing a better version of what he was playing last year. No. He no longer crabs along the field. He no longer has 10 tackle breaks a game. He's beginning to ball play as well. Like, some of his no-look cutout passes were...
Dare I say it, Dave Taylor-esque?
Dave Taylor-esque.
How good were they?
Oh, mate, it was unbelievable. And so when I see that and I go, like, all of a sudden you're getting into areas where, this is the Fafita that had all that hype a few years ago that was doing these crazy things that we'd never seen before. Well, not never seen before, but hadn't seen such a big body be able to move the way he did. He was outstanding. And, you got to give credit to Holbrook for that. Tino again, far out. You talk about, like, the best attitude in the game. It doesn't come much better than Tino. He rips and tears. 222 metres, 66 post contact, 25 tackles. Fafita, he had 2 try assists, 18 runs in total, 187 metres, 4 tackle breaks, 2 line break assists, 2 offloads, 21 tackles, only 1 miss. Unbelievable. And so, yeah, I know it's a loss, but I really think that... there was a lot to like. There was a lot to like in that performance. I'm trying to think. So Jaden Campbell came on, and so in In 58 minutes, Campbell ran for 155 metres, 8 tackles. He had a line break. Yeah, as I said, I know it's a loss, but there looks like a good building foundation going forward for the Titans.
Thought obviously Campera, he scored a double in this one. Looks really good. He's just got a couple of errors in the...
He had 5 line breaks.
Yeah, wild. I'll tell you what, I wouldn't be surprised if he's not in the side in 2 weeks, though.
Yeah, we spoke about it off air. I'm just a bit worried about, he's there. He's an NRL player in regards to crazy potential. Just got a bit of rough around the edges that he needs to sort out. Because I think it's now, how many errors is it? He had 3 errors this game.
Wouldn't have gone down as an error, but he had a play that he made a line break on second tackle and he kicked in field when it wasn't on too, and it was towards the back end of the game and it was really in the balance. Just one of those learning moments that with a bit more of experience, I think he takes the tackle, gets a quick play the ball, and then they're on the front foot again. But you got Jojo Fafita returning from injury. They also signed Ken Mamalo during the week.
That was an interesting signing, wasn't it?
Very interesting.
Because you would have thought outside back so sweet.
So sweet.
So many outside backs.
They got rid of Greg Marzu.
Yep.
5 line breaks on the weekend.
Yeah, crazy.
Just for errors, he's got 9 for the year.
9 errors.
Yep.
See, and that's why I talk about, as a small winger, that's something you can't really afford to have in your game. And so it's interesting because there's 2 trains of thought. How can you drop a bloke that's had 5? How can you drop a bloke that scored the amount of tries he scored, lit up the comp the way he has? Do you stick with him and learn whilst playing first grade, or do you put him back in reserve grade and say, mate, just need you iron out a few things? I think they'll stick with him in first grade because he has so much upside. Very Josh Adokar-esque. Now, Adokar, I think there was maybe 1 year at the start where he had quite a few errors, and then he really cleaned that part of his game up and became one of the most consistent wingers in the game. At the moment, I would probably stick with him.
Surely they're not going to sign Ken. Surely they're not going to let go of Patrick Herbert to sign Ken and not play him, though, right?
They might have got him for minimum.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be putting Ken Mamalo in. If he can't make the Tigers side, I wouldn't be putting him straight into a Titans side, especially a bloke that scored as many tries as Khan has.
Yep, fair shout. I think it'll be, because I think it is fair to say they have to get Jojo Fafita back in when he's fit.
Oh, for sure.
For sure.
Jojo Fafita, for me, is their best winger.
So who's dropping out of the back 4? Obviously, Campbell coming for Brimo if he's out with the hammy, or calf, whatever it was. Pereira, Kelly, Shop, Sammy. We know that they're all pretty versatile. Sammy can play centre if required. Mamalo can play centre.
Well, so was he suspended or injured at the start of the year? Because they started with Fafita. I think Khan.
Brian Kelly was suspended.
Kelly was.
So, it's great to have the options that they do.
Great position to be in.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if
Khan makes way.
Yeah. And I think it could be the best thing for him to go. We know he's got the talent. There's no question there. But it's just sorting out those other things in his game that I think a little stint in reserve grade could be really good for him.
So 9 errors in 4 games. So you're more than 2 errors a game.
Just on the Fox, as you said before, I just went back. So he's averaged about 18 to 24, 25 errors a year. But in 2017, he was number 1 with 37.
Wow.
Yeah. That's the year I remember. And it was a real concern in his game. And then he fixed it up. But yeah, you can't be having more than 2 errors a game. Can't be averaging that. Because at the moment, he's on average to do about 50 errors this year.
Especially when you're not making 100 tough metres out of your own end, which I'm not expecting him to, because he's not that sort of winger at this point in his career. But you can't be having that many errors when you're... I feel so tough. He had 5 line breaks. I feel tough. 100%. Yeah, and it's brutal.
Yeah. Because
the NRL's brutal.
Yeah, for sure. He's when he hits those afterburners, it's a sight to behold.
Yep.
Oh, when does Jojo come back? Is it next week, did you say?
I'm not sure. I haven't heard. There might be one for Matty, but I don't think he'd be too far off.
I reckon give him another chance, Khan. I think keep him in there. I feel bizarre talking about it because he's got 2 tries, had 5 line breaks, so it's far out. What has a bloke got to do?
Yeah, it just says to be confirmed.
To be confirmed.
But these are the conversations we want to be having, being honest and whatnot about everything. So,
anyone else that stood out for you, Timmy?
Mate, not so much. He's having a really solid enough season, but Tanner Boyd with one of the all-time Barrys for Val Holmes' try, the big lofted over the top ball.
was never on.
Never on. Chasing a couple of points, but it wasn't that late in the game. He just threw it. You just saw his heart sink. No, what have I done?
This is my nightmare.
Yeah.
Now, on to the Cowboys. Like we spoke about a bit earlier, sometimes a win is a win. Just seriously, you got to get the points how you can find them. They won their first match, then they'd lost 2 in a row. Completed 80%. Are they the world beaters that we saw even in the first half of the year in regards to that first half of rugby league, or even the back end of last year, or the whole year of the whole season? Really, they're not at that level yet, but a win's a win. I think it's a mixture of Titans' gutsiness as well as Cowboys not having Drinkwater at the back. I think each game we see without Drinkwater, we begin to realise more and more this guy is so important. And what's interesting is Chester hasn't been bad by any stretch. He's had a red hot crack, but Drinky to that team is truly like, he's arguably, you'd probably say Townsend is the most important, but geez, Drinky wouldn't be far behind.
It's a real credit to guys when their stocks go up when they're not there. It's a really good sign of a good footballer that you take for granted what they do week in, week out. Then as soon as they're taken out, and as you said, Tom Chester's come in and done a really good job. I rate him very highly, but you can just tell the Cowboys look completely different without Drinky there. They'll be desperate to have him back.
Well, we spoke about it, Kempy, on the live show in Cairns on the weekend, but the way I see the Cows at the moment is I don't think it's panic stations. They've got injuries. They've got, I shouldn't say excuses, but in my eyes, they've gone from that position of when they struggled in, 2021, come in 2022 as underdogs, they were the hunters. Like, sides weren't getting up against, not getting up against them, but they go into matches not expecting the ambush. And they went through all of that last year where they had probably softer opposition in a lot of sense because of that. This year, they're being the hunted because they're, a point away or something from playing in the grand final. They finished 3rd on the ladder in the regular season. So they're just getting new opposition each and every week in terms of the attitude against the Cowboys. It's a reality check because of how good they were last season. And I think they'll be fine. I think they'll overcome that, but it's not going to be the same run as last year, which they're working out pretty quickly.
Yeah, Nanai was better for sure. Unfortunately, I think he's going to miss 2 weeks because of that tackle. He was 11 runs, over 100 metres, 4 tackle breaks, a line break assist, 2 offloads, 25 tackles, only 1 miss, which is what you want to see, and no errors. So
11 runs a week, perfect.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I wish it was 15, 16, but I'll cop 11.
Great if it was 15, 16, but I'm taking 11 over 3 every day of the week.
Yeah, for sure. So good to see Nanai back. Now, unfortunately, he can't get that momentum because he's going to miss, miss 2 games. Bit surprised, Taumalolo a bit quiet. I haven't seen him as quiet in a while. I thought Robson was solid again, 100 metres, running metres, 36 tackles. Dearden was probably their best. I just think he typified that battler. He had 3 line breaks. Without Dearden, do they find those 24 points? I know that one was an intercept or whatever, but he just kept swinging the momentum back into the Cowboys' favour. Every time that the Titans would kind of like grind it out, Dearden would do something just super energetic to get his boys on his back and move forward.
Just on Nanai, it's his... Sorry, Nanai. My bad. It's his 3rd dangerous throw in a year. So that's why he's being suspended. So that's just something he's got to fix up.
Got to work out. Because I think he doesn't realise how bloody strong he is. He chops him and then fucking drives... Yeah, anyway. Who stood out for you boys?
Yeah, I thought Tommy Dearden, as you said, he was very good. Val Holmes just I know it wasn't a great pass, but doesn't Val Holmes just find himself in these positions
so
consistently? Good. There's just something about Val that he's just got.
He's just class. He's just got class.
Yeah. And even when he caught the ball, there was a lot of work to do still. He sort of just swerved through, just made it look so easy there. I thought the Cowboys, you mentioned that Taumalolo was a bit quiet, and I agree, but geez, they missed Cotter. They missed his energy through the middle so much. I think he's out for another 2 to 3 weeks. I think that's really going to test them, especially now they're going to be down a back rower as well. It'll be good to see Hylam Lukey given an opportunity to start. I assume he'll come in.
Interesting.
I'm very excited to see that. And I might be a little bit nervous to hand over that spot for a few weeks just quietly.
Yeah, I mean, I think he keeps it no matter what.
So do I, but fuck, if I'm Hylam, I'm coming in there and I'm going, okay, I need to have those 17 runs, and he's got impact that he can.
I think we'll see.
Make a splash.
I think we'll see Lukey keep his spot, but play Cohen Hess will drop to the bench or go into the middle
I
rotation.
think it's Cohen Hess that's probably a bit more.
So then your edges of Hylam Lukey and
Nanai.
Jeremiah Nanai.
Oh my God. Nanai Lukey edges is scary. So young too. Like you got these two giants on the edge that are just super aggressive when they turn her on. Hylam Lukey's going to be interesting, as you said, you alluded to, Guru, is like he's a bit different to Nanai. He'll take 20 hit-ups if you let him.
Yep.
Got a motor for days. He's actually bigger than Nanai as well.
And in a pack that isn't winning the middle at the moment, he could become very appealing all of a sudden.
Yeah, I reckon it would be Cohen Hess that probably turns into maybe a front row rotation on the bench.
Yep.
If Hylam Lukey kills it, because like this is their back row if Hylam kills it. Lukey, Nanai, Taumalolo. Fuck. That's as good as any back row. That's as good as any back row on the comp. Unbelievable.
And you add Cotter into that rotation, it's essentially a lock anyway.
Fucking hell. Unbelievable. And then you got Jordan McLean, who has found his form. Like the last, isn't his story so interesting? Like, he was done. He was done a few years ago. Peyton has come in, and all of a sudden, McLean is like one of their most consistent players. 137 metres, 53 post contact, 31 tackles, only one miss.
It genuinely makes me upset when I think about him in Origin last year.
Fuck.
That was heartbreaking.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he knew it too. He knew that was
he
it.
knew exactly.
Yeah.
He knew exactly the situation that he was in. So, yeah, good win. Are they where they were last year? Probably not, but they also are missing a couple of key players. But 24-12, can't complain with that.
Got the Dolphins this week. That'll be a good game.
It'll be a cracking game.
Yep.
And it'll be a really... Well, I mean, Dolphins are probably missing more people than the Cowboys are. But if the Dolphins get over the Cowboys...
My mistake. They're playing Canterbury this week.
Okay.
Also be a good game.
Don't worry
Probably
about
not
it.
as good, but
We'll be at it,
Canberra.
Guru.
we will be at it. Yeah.
Cowboys doggies. Oh, that's going to be a tough one to pick. Okay. Anyway, yeah, a win's a win. The good thing for the Cowboys is they're 2 from 4 now. So, like, even though they haven't started the year overly well, they're still 2 from 4, which is you picked up the wins you needed to win. You know, there are other clubs obviously that are 1 from 4, and you know that are struggling, and who knows what's going to happen with them.
We got invited to some fancy seats for this game. So me and Timmy will be
stop
there.
it.
So you might have to carry the ship on Monday morning.
Moving up in the world though, boys.
Jeez, I hope they've got kryptonites out at Olympic Park.
Now, on to, before we get to it, store shout-outs. Celebrations, The Grange, Black Sheep, Newmarket, Black Sheep, Everton Hills, Colmsley Hotel Bottle Shop, and X-Golf Inogra. So get in to The Grange celebrations, Black Sheep, Newmarket, and Everton Hills, Colmsley Hotel Bottle Shop, X-Golf Inogra, plus in every single IGA Plus liquor, Bloke beer, currently $50. Wow. Now, on to South versus Manly. South to beat Manly. 13-12. Let's get straight to it because I know people are just sitting there seething. Manly fans are. That forward pass call was outrageous. Outrageous. I know people have sent pictures and said, like, look where he threw it, look where it ended. I don't know how many times we have to say it. It's not where the ball ends up. It's how it comes out of the hands. It came out of the hands backwards. You can throw a ball backwards, and because you're moving forward, momentum can carry it forwards. Everyone knows I'm a doctor in physics. And that is the truth. That is actually the truth. No, G-ups aside, that's the way it works, is like you can be running forward, you throw the ball backwards, it can move forward due to your momentum. So, shocking call. Did it cost Manly the game, though? No, it didn't. Not in my opinion. I think Manly cost Manly the game, if I'm being honest. It was still a great performance from Manly. Manly still, for me, are one of the shining lights of the NRL this season. But I think they had the opportunity to win that game, and they didn't take it when it was there. And yeah, just a good, high-quality game. I thought it was a great game.
Completely agree with all your takes on the past there. I think if you think referee decisions decide games for you, you haven't done enough to win them. So I completely back that. I thought they were unlucky in that moment, no doubt about it. They had their opportunities to win that game. It is what it is. I'll tell you what I loved watching this game, and the two edge back rowers, Coleman Tungi and Olakwatu. I was just sitting there going, fuck, are these the two that are fighting out for an Origin debut here, like jersey 17. Well, it wouldn't surprise me if it's either of those two. And geez, they both put in a shift, didn't they?
Oh fuck! What I'm loving about Manly's attitude is they take things real personal. Like they really are going to teams, picking out a person and saying like, I've got an issue with you or something. You know, like they want to get over their opposition. I mean, Ola Kawatu did it with Kikau. He did it the next week. He's done it again. Another huge, like this honestly makes me super impressed for Manly. 17 missed tackles for a whole game. What a knock. That is such good signs going forward for the club. What do you think of the Manly Seagulls, Timmy?
Yeah. I mean, first thing with the forward pass, that definitely was not a forward pass. I think people were also thinking that Tommy Turbo was waltzing through for a try, game changer. There's vision there. Latrell Mitchell's on top of him. He's ready to make the tackle, so it's not necessarily a straight-up try, regardless of being a shocker of a decision. Secondly, the Bunnies knocking out one of the most lit jerseys of all time.
Oh, what a jersey.
Not perfection.
And just the way they won it as well for the great Sattler, you know.
It was very, very cool.
It's like just, 13, the number 13, a battler, tough game. They won every single grade, I'm pretty sure as well.
Did they?
Yep.
How good is that for the greats, for one of the greats in the game? And just like to put on a performance like that, backs against the wall. And, Rabbitoh's style is they can blow teams off the park, but there was something like, I guess, magical in the air about, Sattler being one of the toughest men to ever play the game. The Rabbitohs come out and have a tough win. So good.
And just shout out to the Rabbitohs as an organisation, like on a pretty short turnaround. I think John passed away on Tuesday, I think it was, maybe Monday. But to have those jerseys, even the numbers on the back, the numbers look like they were from 1970.
They were sick jerseys. I love those jerseys.
They were so good. They were so good. So shout out to South Sydney for getting all that sorted. Obviously, the Sattler family on the field before the game as well. Just handled very all class, South Sydney.
It was all handled as, as a fan of the game as well as it could be handled. You could see your son was, emotional and...
Seeing Scott Sattler get emotional, if that doesn't break him up, nothing will.
Mate, so it's just the gritty nature of the win. Just so good. But we'll stick to Manly, then we'll get to the Rabbitohs. Timmy, what do you think of Manly?
It was interesting. I was chatting to Sammy Williams during the week about Josh Schuster and talking about how special he is and how direct he plays. And for so early on in his career as a 5'8", he sort of pointed out to me that I found really interesting. And you may know this, you may not. Passes off the left foot, which is a very rare thing for a half.
When he's passing left, he passes off the left foot?
Yeah. So, like most halves would pass off the right. So it opens up, they throw out the back, which is where they sort of might go overs a little bit, won't play as direct, won't screw up the defence. Because he plays off the left, that is why he's going dead straight every time.
Because it forces him to square up.
It's awesome, but so hard to do. It's not like a thing you can just teach him, like, mate, we need you to start passing off the left foot, play more direct.
Because it means your hip is fully that way.
It's so hard to do.
Whereas when you do it off your right foot, as you said, it opens your body up.
Because then you also have to be able to do it, and because you're half not looking at the player, it's why he's throwing the no looks, because he's passed off the left foot and his body's squared up in front of him. I found that super intriguing, and I can't unsee it now. It's mad.
And because he passes off his left foot, if you're the guy defending outside him, he ticks all the boxes of going to that back rower. So you have to hold there. And then all of a sudden, like no one else can do it. It's unbelievable.
It's beautiful to watch. And it's such a good insight that only an NRL half, and your brother would pick that up, because he knows the intricate details of how to make your body do certain things. It's like when you watch a fight, you like, oh, that looks easy, like two people fighting. No, it looks easy because they're so good at it. You get in there, you look like an absolute moron. And it's the same with like the Josh Schuster thing. He makes it look easy because he's so good at it. So good at it.
I would even question, I reckon that is just something he does naturally.
Oh, mate, I want to know, how did he get to the point of development? He's a big boy. He seems like he was naturally always big. So what, I guess, made it in his mind to go... Because, the easy option with a guy like Schuster coming through is to force him to be a hard-running edge-back rower or even front rower. He's a big boy. But what I would love to know his development of what coach or his parents or whoever it was, someone in a position of authority, allowed him to be who he is. Because how often, you've been a teacher, how often do teachers project what they think and force it onto the kid just because that's what they know?
Yeah, and he's a classic example that when he does this no look and it goes to the ground, the coach's automatic reaction is, "Fuck, what are you doing? That's not what everyone else does." And when it goes wrong once, we look stupid. Whereas you can tell that people have backed him in, that people have backed in his ability. Even when you watch like his old tapes when he's playing junior reps, like he used to get the ball one off the ruck and he'd do a big step off his right foot and look that way and he'd just float the ball in the air.
Yeah, Ben Travojevic.
Ben Travojevic isn't on screen when he does it. And he doesn't just chuck it inside. He floats in the air because he knows, I've beaten this man. Ben probably can't keep up with me at the moment, but he'll be there eventually. So he just lets the ball just float in the air. He's an absolute freak, the stuff that he can do.
Yeah, so impressive. So impressive. This Manly side, I'm liking it. I'm really liking it. I mean, Josh Sua'ali'i came out and said, I take full responsibility and I take all criticism that comes my way. Which I love to see, but I'm also like, bro, you don't deserve like the shit that you're probably getting sent. You definitely don't deserve that. We all make errors. But what I love is it's that extreme accountability. Like, I'm not saying that every player should come out and do that, but it's not a bad sign. It's not a bad sign when the guy that made the error in the crucial moment is willing to step straight ahead and say, you know what, I fucking deserve whatever's coming my way. Again, I don't think he does deserve everything that comes his way, but I'd way rather my player saying, you know what, that's 100% my fault, than making excuses and going, oh yeah, but I was tired, the ball was slippery, and look at everything I did in the game at the start, like for the 70 minutes before. There's something...
You got to respect it.
Yeah, fucking oath, you got to respect it.
Because if he didn't, I wouldn't say anything.
I wouldn't say anything. Anyone that knows rugby league and isn't an absolute moron would be like, it's a drop ball. Like, these things happen. You know, the guys work their asses off. Like, yeah, it's ideal that it didn't happen, but no one's sitting there going, oh, you're the reason. Anyone reasonable wouldn't go, he's the reason we lost. The reason they lost was the 70 minutes before it, not the one error at the end. Didn't contribute, but anyway. So I really, really like what's happening at Manly. I think that K.O. Wiggs came on and he had like, even, he didn't do a lot of work, but there was just like one moment where he was stepping and weaving and you're going, shit, he's there 14.
He just has touches that you just sit back and go, fuck, when he finds his position and gets a real opportunity, he's going to carve.
He's going to carve. Then you've got Bullymore, comes on, 29 minutes, 118 metres, 52 post contact in 29 minutes. They have got something special building there.
I love when DCE had his shot at field goal, just watching the big players step up. Tommy Turbo takes the tough carry in the play before to get them the opportunity to take the shot. Damien Cook is the one flying off the line to get the charge down and put the pressure on. Just all these guns stepping up.
Yeah, and like, needed. I love the fact that Tommy's like, not that I don't trust anyone else, but he's almost like, this is my job to make sure that it gets taken care of. You know, how many other glamour fullback superstars, there's only really the top tier go, this is my job to do this. I will say, and look, I'm going to be super nitpicky here. There's one thing in the press conference that I was like, I don't like hearing that. Seibold said, we're just at the beginning of our journey. And I'm like, Seibold, I love you. I've been loving your progression so much. But I was like, bro, I don't like hearing that because it's like, although it may be technically true, it's like, this team has been together for a while. And also like, it's a way out to a degree. And I don't like that. And I know that's the context of what he was saying. It wasn't that. He was actually saying, I'm actually really impressed at how far we've come in this new beginning. That's being super nitpicky. Also, a small thing, but, in the week off, him, falling asleep in the Maccas or whatever, it's like, look, it's funny, but these are the little things you're like, Siebes, my man, you're doing so good. Just keep it in here, bros. You're doing so good. I don't know, Guru, do you have thoughts on that?
I thought it was a little bit over the top, personally. I get where you're coming from, but fuck, the way that the article was written when I opened it, I don't know. I don't know if it's as.
I'm not coming from it from a...
I know what you're saying.
I'm just saying it's just a little thing.
Things,
like, what was your comments before? It was like, I haven't seen anything in the media from Siebes. And then I just go, Siebes, you're giving them what they want. They want this.
In saying that, if I go back 2 years ago to Brisbane, I'd be giving my left nut for him to fall asleep in the compared to the other shit. So.
And this is coming from a place of like, I want to see the redemption arc of Seibold. And it's not, this isn't hindsight hero. I've said it before the season started, guys. I think we're on a redemption arc with Siebes. And I'm on it. I'm on board the redemption train with Anthony Seibold. I really am. I want to see at the end of the year, everyone that never gave him another hope because everything happened in Brisbane, is eating their words. And right now, this Manly side looks like a side that could play finals footy.
Tell you a little clash that I really enjoyed. We obviously mentioned Campbell Graham last week about how I thought he got it over Sua'ali'i. I thought Brad Parker really took it to him.
Fucking oath he did. That was a great battle.
Yeah.
Because I love the bit where Campbell Graham hit someone, held him up, dragged him out, and they got the ball back, and then Brad Parker, boom, hit someone, takes him out. And you're just going, fuck, that's good. Good centre-on-centre play. I feel like for a few years we missed that kind of rivalry.
For sure.
Like, people just weren't going up against their opposition. It was more about the team. And I think it has a lot to do with, which is ironic because Will Chambers was such a fucking go at people. But I think for many years, people tried to emulate the Storm of this kind of like cold, calculated way to victory. Like, get through your sets, squeeze them out of games. And it not robbed, but a lot of teams, you're not the Storm. Yeah. So you can have the fire, be the passion, or whatever. And I think we're starting to see some battles. Like, it's great. The Big Red versus great serial killer. Hank from Simpsons versus
Scorpio.
Dexter versus Dexter from fucking Dexter. So yeah, I know they lost, but I'm super excited for Manly. And I'm excited for Seabold. I really am. I think that this could be the redemption year for him. I really do. What a great story. And also, if they keep going the way they're going, Manly has always struggled with the admin side of things. Like, there's always been dramas, and not as bad as other clubs. But you have to give credit. Like, this was a big call to move Des on. Club legend. Outside of last year, he'd been successful since he'd came back. It's a big call, and right now, it's paying off. So you've got to give credit to Manly's admin for making the huge call, and it's paying off. Like, at the moment. Now, it's a long season, for sure, but you've got to give credit to Manly admin. Now, onto the Rabbitohs. We've spoken about it a bit, but we'll get into specifics. Cody Walker, that try was just... I feel like, maybe it's not true, but in the magic of the moment, it's like only Cody Walker would know that ball's not going dead. I know that a lot of other players would have chased it and they may have been able to get there, but in the moment, it's like, that's such a Cody Walker thing to do. Like, that ball was going dead for all money. Like, DCE, one of the most experienced players in the NRL, thought it was going dead. Not Cody Walker. That's not going dead, brah. Gets it there. Gets it done.
I mentioned before the one where Nick Meaney, when he let Api Koroisau score in a kind of similar situation, I thought, a better fullback probably would have done better. I don't even think DCE made a mistake, to be honest with you.
No.
It was dead for all money.
Yeah.
Like, I don't hold that against him at all. It's just credit to Cody to not only get there, but to get around DCE's body to get the ball down. I sort of felt like, and I don't know, Matty might be the person to ask, but I've been a little bit disappointed with Cody's start to the season until the other night. Finally, he felt like Cody Walker again. And I feel like we haven't seen that in a while. I thought, I know you're going to talk about one of his tries in a minute, but there was one play he got it down the left edge. He came with his left foot, and it looked like Cody Walker from 2 or 3 years ago. Manly eventually got him to ground, but I don't know. It sort of just looks like he's back to what he was in this game.
Timmy?
Yeah, just want to break down the right edge try. Cody's second try was, I thought it was mesmerising. Like, we often talk about teams in attack being clunky and being on a different page to each other. There's no cohesion. This was the opposite. This was just a side in absolute unison. Go back and do yourself a favour and watch Cody Walker's second try. And in a lot of regards, it's simplistic in a lot of ways that they play out the back and there's 3 lead runners running the blocks. But on top of that, Cam Murray's the start of it, and he's got, it might have been Cam on his inside. He hits Lockie Ilias. Ilias brings, I think it was Kaloa Matangi underneath him. Play out the back to Cody. There are just bodies going everywhere, and the timing of every single one of those men was perfect. To be honest, Cody ends up scoring the try and going through. Brad Parker falls off him. Pretty sure it was Brad Parker. I thought Manly, to even get as close as they did to that, was outstanding. Beautiful, beautiful try. Few of the best things about it. Again, I harp on about it. Cody Walker, 5'8", sweeping, playing the opposite side. Linking up with his halfback in Lockie Ilias was awesome. No Latrell Mitchell involved in it either. It was, like, on the weaker edge for the Bunnies as well, their right compared to their left. Matty is a Bunnies fan. To see the evolution of that right edge this season must get you so excited.
Yeah, it all started in round 1 when Lockie Ilias put over Cole Matangi, put over Graham twice. Cole Matangi actually bombed the try as well. So there was a lot of points down that side, and as we know, we've been going down the left. Just to see playing both sides of the field this year, it's been fantastic.
What about Keon? He pumps out game after game of just like 189 metres, 73 post contact, 2 tackle breaks, 40 tackles, 1 miss. He is a victim of his own consistency now. Like, we've been ranting and raving about Olakau'atu, and rightly so. But, I mean, you can make an argument. Now, does he have the big moments at this stage like of the season that Olakau'atu's had? Maybe not, but statistically, he's been probably arguably more consistent.
Yeah, and when it comes to like an Origin debut, you got to remember he was in the squad a year or two ago. So Freddie's had his eye on him.
Imagine a bench with Keon and Olakau'atu coming on.
What did we say last week about Ola? Hey, to try off a kick.
Oh, mate.
And then that hand of God just, the mitt pops out.
Far out. What a catch. Like, I don't think people appreciate how big these boys are. These boys are fucking giants, and they're leaping up like athletes like that. It's unbelievable.
Well, haven't you heard it a million times with him that, I forget which player it was, but he was his mate that was playing basketball.
Yeah.
He brought him over a game. Couldn't you see the basketball in that moment?
Oh, mate, 100%. 100%. I just want to give a quick shout out to me boy, Michael Cheekham. Like, look, is he setting the world alight? No. But he's got brushed by the Tigers into a Rabbitohs side that is a premiership threat right now, and Demetrio loves him. Like, he started in the front row. I'm not sure if he stayed there the whole game, but started in the front row. He's moved around. He's off the bench. Like, I love seeing blokes like Michael Cheekham get this second wind in their career where they finally get appreciated for their utility, for their good attitude, he's a fucking legend of a bloke. Like, I'm loving the Cheekham resurgence.
I don't know if you watched him or remember him when he played Toyota Cup, but he was a prodigy, wasn't he?
Gun.
And he was a gun at the Tigers too, and they never played him. And I was like, what the fuck is...
When he was at Canberra and he was playing Toyota Cup, he was just he was best player in the comp sort of stuff, wasn't he? He was off the charts.
He came in the Tigers and he played some good first grade, and for the life of me, he would score tries, he would have match winners and that, and then they just wouldn't pick him.
He said Campy, just the versatility of the bloke. His value as a bench forward, because he can slot in at centre if he needs. He said he can play middle, edge. His physique can go anywhere on the park.
100%. Like, if you had to, you could probably play 9. Like, you really could.
Need him to, old cheeky.
Old cheeks. Between the cheeks. We'll talk about Lockie Ilias. Mate, I loved hearing the post-match press conference post-match interview where he's like, no, I wanted the ball. And I loved, like, you want to see a good environment. Latrell Mitchell, Cody Walker, for them to go, you know what? No, we trust you. 100%. We trust you 100%. We'll take a step back. You score the field goal because we 100% believe in you. Great signs.
And just stepping in over Latrell and saying... No, mate, I want this.
Latrell Mitchell, how many big moments has he had? Field goals especially. And like, credit to Latrell as well for going, you know what, taking a step back. Yep, you take it, mate. And boom, he nails it.
Tell you what, and when I've been coaching the last few years, I had this running argument with my halfback and 5'8" about how it's so important when you're going to kick a ball to play the ball in the right spot. So if you're a left foot kicker, you want to get the ball from your right-hand side. Watching South Sydney moving into position for Latrell's field goal, the first one, and they were right in front of the left upright, and Damien Cook scooted down the left. I went, fuck, how's Latrell going to get this? Markers are going to be right in his face. And then when I saw them do it again, throw the ball out, and I thought, he's on the wrong side again. And then it went to Ilias. I went, thank God. Yeah. Thank God. Right foot kitty. You got an extra second and a half to put it away, and he absolutely nailed it.
It would have been they would call like a drop goal set or something. They wouldn't call it a drop goal set, but it would be an entire set building up that deception to Latrell, and then boom, hitting Lockie Ilias. So good. So look, obviously Manly lost, but both teams won in my opinion. Both teams are looking good. Both teams I think will be there in finals footy. Very exciting times. Now on to the Warriors versus Bulldogs. Battle of the assistant coaches. Now head coaches. So obviously Webster and Serraldo were at the Panthers together. I tell you what, both teams, 16-14, that's what you want to see. Like, low-scoring affair, grindy, gritty affair. Both teams a couple of years ago, there's no way they hold each other to that low score. It's a fucking blowout, and it's a tit for tat, try for try. I loved seeing that. I think the Bulldogs for sure are on the up, but the Warriors are the real surprise packet this year. They are looking, they got systems in place. And again, it's similar-ish to the Dolphins situation where because the Warriors have put together so many good performances this year, you forget that when they made those recruits, what did we all say? You're kind of replacing like for like. Like, what's going to be the difference? I'll tell you what the difference is. Andrew Webster. That's what the difference is. And they look, I mean, will they play finals footy? Probably not, but I tell you what, they've gone from probably being in my bottom 4 to they're going to be a nightmare side for a lot of clubs this year. And if they were to sneak into 8, I would still be surprised, but I wouldn't be like mind blown. I think I really like what's happening at the Warriors. I like the way they're playing. They still got oh my God, Metcalf to come back. I'm not sure where they're going to fit him. But like even a situation like, Cairns playing fullback, I always was surprised how quickly the Raiders were willing to just say Cairns is not the guy. Like he's just not the guy. And, since being back at the Warriors, like he's not Tom Trbojevic or Tedesco, but I tell you what, he does a bloody job. Then you've got their backs who last year we could see all the potential, but defensively it was just like, oh my God. But now we're starting to see Vailea, Kossi, Pompey. Sometimes when they get the ball, just their athleticism and explosiveness is unstoppable. It is unstoppable. Then you've got Montoya as well. Tamade Martin has been fantastic. Sean Johnson turning back the clock. Vanilla Blake, he's back to his best. Jackson Ford, as you discussed. I really like what I'm seeing at the Warriors. Like, this is genuinely, I know the Warriors break your heart, and I know they come out and they do this sometimes, and there could be, in 8 weeks, we could be sitting there going, oh, okay, we're back to where we were a few years ago. But this is the first time in a long time where I'm seeing good, solid systems, good, solid foundation, building towards the future. When you look at this team on paper, they shouldn't be doing what they're doing, and yet they are, and that's a good sign of a good club.
It feels like they're all moving in the same direction.
Yeah.
Most of the time with the Warriors, or respectfully for pretty much their existence, even when they're going really well, it still feels like it's game to game and there's no direction over an entire season. I thought it was fantastic that Jackson Ford came in game 1, did really well, got a HIA the next week, and Webster, and I think this is a big difference. Said to him, you won the spot originally. It's yours. We're not going to fuck around. It's your spot. That's your edge. And geez, he repaid the favour yesterday. He was unreal Ford.
Josh Curran is 18th man.
Hard to work out what's going on there, isn't it? He's been weirdly on the outer to some extent for about 18 months now. It's a very strange situation.
Because they just re-signed him within the last 18 months pretty much.
Very strange. It's hard to work out what that's all about. Isn't that Ed Kossi? Hasn't he got some ability?
How good was he under the high ball?
He has so many big
dropping
plays.
one.
Oh, man.
And pressure on him all the time. So reliable.
I can't remember when it was last year, but there was a game last year against Melbourne where he genuinely might have had the worst game by a human being of all time. And I'm giving that as a compliment for how he's come back from that, because I remember sitting there after that game going, I don't know if he can come back from that. No one's ever going to forget the way that he played that day. He's been tremendous. He re-signed during the week as well, so congratulations to him. A great bounce back.
Oh, massive bounce back. And the big plays he made, not only the catching the high balls, even one where he jammed in, it was a try for all money, he puts his hand out, hits it up in the air, and then catches it, and they get the ball back. Far out. Viliami Vailea, hopefully I'm saying that right, 1 try, a try assist, 164 metres, 53 post contact, 3 tackle breaks, 1 line break, a line break assist, 2 offloads, 14 tackles. These guys are, they're not even close to household names yet you're starting to see, what was if there was one thing that the Warriors could develop, it was a big gun outside back. And I think for a few years we were struggling to see that. I think we're starting to see again big, strong outside backs that almost strike fear into opponents. It used to be going to play the Warriors where you would look across the field from you going, it's Francis Millie, these absolute giants that were super aggressive, physically imposing. We're starting to see that again. For sure, and it's credit to the guy that found all these guys is Peter O'Sullivan, who's gone up there to the Dolphins, and the young guys he's got there, Katoa, Bostock, Teague, all these guys. He's very good at what he does, and you can see that some of those guys that he found during that time and signed up to the Warriors starting to pay dividends now. What do you think of the Warriors, Timmy?
My favourite thing has just been their resilience this season. Like, their performances have been great, but they've had so many injuries, and injuries mid-game, even on the weekend. They came from behind to win this one. They lost Tohu, Niokore, Tamari Martin was later on in the game. And despite all this, they just backs against the wall. They're finding ways to win. They've had genuine excuses to go to water and let games blow out late. Like, no, we've got a different attitude. And man, they've been tough. So if they can start putting a few games together, they don't have injuries, and the bench rotations aren't screwed up. Players aren't going to other positions. But I touched last week on Kempy, particularly in the forward pack, about the versatility of some of these forwards and being able to switch between middle and edge. All these injuries happen. They're sweet. They've got players that can cover it.
Yep. I mean, you look at their stats, like 88% completion, only missed 24 tackles.
Oof.
Like, that won them the game. Like, that's what, okay, were they as electrifying as they could be? Probably not. Did they have a bunch of injuries? Yep. But that foundation of just grit and determination, that's won them the game.
Especially when they pretty much didn't touch the ball for the first 8 minutes.
Yeah.
It was all Canterbury early. And that's what, like, when I have a look at their outside backs and, Ed Cossey, 125 metres, Marcelo Montoya, 158 metres, they essentially only played 65 minutes of football where they could run the thing because they didn't touch it for the first part.
Yeah. Really, really good stuff. We've got to talk about it, the obstruction. Look, letter of the law, black and white, yes, 100% obstruction. Would Reid Marnie have got there? I think there's extremely minuscule chances that he would have stopped Sean Johnson. So it was a common sense call. Black and white, I understand why Doggies fans would be upset. So even if I said, you know what, wrong call, shouldn't have been a try, it evens itself out because wasn't Cossey, was it Willem, was Pompey? Kick out, clearly raked the ball from Pompey. He clearly made a play at it and he clearly scored that try. So if Doggies fans want to be upset and say, well, we would have won the game, it's like, well, hang on a sec, the kick out one was clearly a rake. Like, he was clearly playing at the ball. All you need to do is look at that last back angle and you can see him pulling at the ball. So I think it evened itself out in the end, to be honest.
So Phil Gould has come out and tweeted, it was not an obstruction. Reid Marnie had no intention of tackling Johnson. I know they've always penalised these incidents and disallowed tries, but they've done so incorrectly. They got it right. And then when someone tweeted about Marnie had eyes on Johnson, Phil Gould said wrong. Marnie admitted that he had eyes on Fanua Blake.
Good from Gus.
What Marnie admitted that he...
Yeah, privately to Gus, but Gus has put it on Twitter.
Thanks, bro.
Good.
I mean, look, I guess, but the ref doesn't have all that information. I still think it was technically an obstruction, but it was a good common sense call.
Yeah. By the letter of the law, yes, obstruction, but I'm sorry, if you dummy to someone and go through it, like if there was a fullback there, what would have SJ have done? Drawn and passed to Adam Fanua Blake. He had to be there. I think they got it exactly right. I like what Gus has done there. A bit dog to read. I like what he's done as a whole, but yeah, it's a tough one. But I think it's rugby league. You're going to have support players coming with you.
It'll come round, and it came round in that game because you got the good call for the kick-out situation. So if you're sitting there and you're saying that's the reason why we lost, it's like, no, it's not. It really is not the reason.
But like, genuinely, if he made that break 20 metres further up the field and there was a fullback there, AFB had to be there to draw and pass, right, to score.
Well, I think the black and white ruling is like, it doesn't matter of what could have Fanua Blake done. All that matters is, was a player obstructed in making an effort to a tackle? I think that's just the black and white rule. But I agree with you. Like, I think common sense is like...
And if we're being black and white, if AFB if his mate makes a break, is he meant to just stop and watch him? Like, you know what I mean?
I'm not sure, but all I know is the way it's been...
Well, that's the only way he avoids that black and white rule in that situation, though.
As in, you're saying that... Well, you could make the argument that he stopped it after the line or fucking... So you think black and white, it's not an obstruction?
By the rule book, it is an obstruction, and I understand that. But I'm sorry, if SJ trips over and falls over there and AFB standing back 5 metres away so that Reid Marnie can run through and get nowhere near SJ, they don't score.
Oh, I think we all agree it was a common sense call.
Yeah.
But I can understand people then, like, if you're a Bulldogs fan, you're not looking at common sense. You're looking at black and white. Yeah, no,
for sure. Yeah.
Went against you. I think it evened itself out, though. It's a 50-50 call that could have gone either way. The kick-out one, I mean, I don't even think that was 50-50. 50-50 call, could have gone either way. In that instance, the Doggies got it. In that instance, the Doggies didn't get it.
It'll just be tough if something like that happens in a big game later this year and it decides a game. I don't think we've solved that problem, and I don't know how you solve that problem, to be honest with you. But
It's just got to be a case by case basis, I think. And like, the NRL's going to fuck it up. We understand that, but as you said, like, it balances itself out. You get that call again. You know, I think we need to drum into, you know, and we're all guilty of it. We're all guilty of it, but just understanding that the calls always come around. They always come around. Timmy, what do you think?
Yeah, not a heap to add, lads. I thought a great win for rugby league fans, just in being a common sense call. He was scoring it every day of the week. Black and white, it was probably an obstruction, what we've seen in the past. Consistency is what we go on about, and the issue is going to be there's going to be blow-ups in the future because it'll happen again in a week's time and it'll be called an obstruction, and that's where the issue is.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm happy to see it called a try.
Well, it's like head highs. Like, we talk about consistency, and then one week a guy head highs a guy, the week before it was a 10 in the bin, the next week it's not 10 in the bin, and so, but yeah, anyway. The right team won, in my opinion.
I really hope for their sake that Tohu Harris isn't out for too long. Looks like he will miss a bit of a stint. But I had a mate who said to me, he came back out in the second half. I went, that guy's so tough. He could have come out on an ACL or done something wild.
Yeah,
he's a monster.
He is an absolute monster. And I'm glad he's starting to, all his hard work is starting to pay off, you know, leading from the front. Now, onto the doggies. I think, like, okay, at the start of the year, you would have said on paper this doggy side should probably beat this Warriors side. But their whole spine is new. They're over in New Zealand, so it's an away game. I think it's a little bit different if the doggies were at home, then you would expect the doggies to get the win. So, although they lost, it's not that disappointing. They kept the Warriors to 16 points. I like what I saw. Like, if anything, the Reid Marnie situation is interesting. He does have a tendency to have some games where he'll miss quite a lot of tackles. And I don't know whether, is it worth giving him a 10-minute rest? Like, I'm not sure. Can they afford to waste an interchange? I don't know. Because he's too tough for his own good, Reid. Like, he goes after everything. Max King, he bounced back from last week. I thought he was quite good in the middle there. 124 metres, 48 tackles, only one miss. Hayes Perham is definitely growing on me. I think that Sorrell is trying to go the route of a Dylan Edwards type fullback. And I love Hayes Perham's effort. I love that he just stays in games. He keeps turning up. And hopefully that ball playing side of things eventuates. Like, 20 runs, 179 metres, 3 tackle breaks, a line break assist, a try assist. Carraz, he's got all the pizzazz, Carraz. Love him. All the pizzazz. 192 metres, 27 runs, 58 post-contact, 6 tackle breaks. Jake Averillo as well. I really like Jake Averillo at centre. I think we finally found his position.
He's been awesome.
Yeah, look, is he the biggest centre in the world? Obviously not. But he just has, he's really strong for his size, but he's got that silkiness that can get Carraz the ball when he needs to.
Every coach coming up against Canterbury would have on the whiteboard, right to left, dummy out of dummy half, Averillo.
Yep,
Fall
absolutely.
for him doing extras this week. Because he sells them.
Oh, fucking oath he sells them. I think Fano's been actually a bit better as well. A lot more adventurous with his play, trying to take on more responsibility. What do you guys think of the doggies?
Yeah, I think Flano's getting better week on week. I think I heard Brandy talk about it post-game the other day that just want to see him have a few more runs, take the line on just a little bit more, because he's now got guys around him in Averillo, Kiraz, and your boy, Jacob Preston, that if he does start to run a little bit more, he can create a heap there, I reckon.
Yeah.
But I just think Canterbury, they're a long-term thing. They're not a 5-6 week project. They're going to be a long-term thing, and hopefully we can talk about them next year as the real deal.
Top 8 at least.
Yeah. I thought Alamotti, he's come on really well over the last few weeks. 18 runs, 160 odd metres.
Just building confidence. Each week he looks more confident.
Yeah. I know that we said Flano's going good, and I completely agree, but another little update on our little mate Carl Olawapu in New South Wales Cup. Scored a try on the weekend, had a line break. What I like, though, we said last week he made 12 tackles, he missed 6. Made 24, missed 1 on the weekend.
Nice. Yeah, nice. Timmy, what do you think of the doggies, mate?
What I've loved is that they've still got this, the injury crisis to the middles, Luke Thompson, Tavita Pangai Jr., Chris Patolo. While they've been lied on through the middle, they've taken, mate, this the Penrith Panthers style approach. And with Sua'ali'i and Gus Gould at the helm, it's no wonder. But like just how impressive the back five have been. So 4 of the 5 CT dub fullbacks ran for 160 plus metres on the weekend. And while they're light on through the middles injury wise, these blokes are filling the void there so well. They're so explosive. There was a moment there where they were coming off their own line, and it reminded me of something I've mentioned a few times in the last few weeks, but around the Blues a couple of years ago, and Latrell and Turbo, and how they were just firing through the middle. And I think Carraz had the first run. He offloaded. Fox was flying off the back of him, made another 15-20. Avrila was ready to go off the back of that. Everything they were doing was at such speed and such intensity. I think the back five have been tremendous for them. And you could say the same about the approach the Warriors are taking with their back five, because they're just eating so many yards. You compare it to a team like Melbourne, where they're not getting these metres out of the back five. They are light on in the middles, and they're doing it tough. Now, I know Melbourne won on the weekend, but yeah, I think the Doggies back five with that Penrith blueprint take the workload off the middles early on in the set. I think it's paying off, and we'll see a lot more of it.
Yeah, good signs for the Doggies. Good signs. Now, store shout-outs. IGA Berry, IGA Milton, Bombarderi Supercellers just stacked up on both midi and lager. So if you're in Bombarderi, check out a new midi. Dicey Riley is in Wollongong and IGA Belmore. So make sure to get into IGA Berry, IGA Milton, IGA Belmore, Bombarderi Supercellers, and Dicey Riley's in Wollongong. Now on to Knights v Raiders. Knights defeat the Raiders 24-14. This is what I'm talking about. This is what the Knights can do. They had everything against them. They defended their absolute arse off, especially the second half. The first half, I was sitting there going, uh-oh, this is not good. 2 tries straight through the middle. You know, pretty poor defence. Second half, they came out a different side. The second half, they were gritty. They were tough. And, you know, I know a lot of people were quite disagreed quite strongly and said I was too harsh on the Knights last week because I was disappointed with their performance. Leaking 36 points. I mean, this is the Knights I want to see. This is what a Knights side is all about. Gritty, tough, back against the wall, get the job done, and they did. And so, like, you can build on this. You know, this is now 2 games out of the 4 where the Knights have shown a bunch of grit that you would say probably last year, towards the end of the year, wasn't really there. You know, this is a great win. Like, okay, are they playing top 8, you know, footy right now? No, but if they continue to develop this gritty defence, relatively high completion rate, 84% completion, and then they had 24 missed tackles. That's going to lay the platform for a good, solid victory. And I think the Knights, just like against the Tigers, deserve a rap for their grittiness. And I think that's what was so disappointing for me personally last week, is that they just completely fell apart. And if they put it this way, if they fell apart the way they did last week, this week, then it probably would have been the same story. But they hung together. Yeah, they had a few players back. Obviously, Brayley came back and Frizzell. But I thought it was a much tougher, grittier performance by the Knights.
I thought it was great by Newcastle to make a bit of a statement. We sat here last Monday, obviously teamless, and then 24 hours later saying, you know, Dominic Young, he knows he's not going to get dropped. He's safe. They made the harsh call to drop him last week, and they come out and put on a performance like that. Great little way to build culture there.
Yeah, to send a strong message. And Greg Marju, this is the version of Greg Marju we all wish for. Like, if he plays like this every week, genuinely, not hyperbolic, he'll be one of the best wingers in the game, if not the best. He is phenomenal.
And if KP comes back and they flip him to the left, he could be the best winger in the game very quickly. The opportunities he'll get down that side. The guy that stood out for me as well, I thought Bradman Best was tremendous in this game. I thought there was a number of times last week where, when playing the Dolphins, they put him in really good spots and he constantly cut back off his left foot and ran back into traffic. I love seeing Bradman just back himself and just
get aggressive again.
Oh, so good. There was a few times last week where Branko got caught out of position, he got the ball, and Isaiah Katoa was coming unders, and instead of just taking him on, he'd come off his left foot and go straight back into traffic. So good just to see Bradman just go, stop me if you can.
Yeah.
That's when he's at his best.
And just like embrace the battle. I think Tomoko brought the best out of him, because like Tomoko had that crazy game last week that was super aggressive. Everyone was talking about how strong he was, and Bradman Best said, no, I'm not going to let, he could put it over me. And yeah, he was outstanding. I think like across the board, literally across the board, they played much better. Like, every single player. Matty Croker came on, he killed it. That flick pass that he threw out was
got to find minutes for him.
I know.
I don't know where, but they've got to find minutes for him.
I'm not sure where it is, but I think he's got a bit of X factor about him, Matty Croker. Got a bit of ball playing. He's got his ability to call plays and make him, specifically make a play for him to break the line or whatever.
He's so confident in his ability to.
Yep. Jaden Brayley, although I think it was probably 2 tries where he was a bit in no man's land. I think that's probably a little bit of rust. He still helps shore up, obviously, the middle. So if they can just get rid of that first half kind of defence and they play like they played in the second half, then it's like what the Dolphins did against the Broncos. They're going to be in most matches to challenge for the win. What do you think about the Knights, Timmy?
Yeah, mate, the Raiders made them look like the All Blacks in the second half. We were very ordinary, but not on the Raiders. The Knights were really impressive, and they were still missing some key blokes in this side. Had a few blokes back in there. Tyson Frizzell came back and was outstanding. What was most impressive was in the second half when the game was on the line, they didn't give the Raiders a sniff. Yep. Jacko Hastings' kicking game was really good. They completed high, and you were just sort of sitting there going, you know what, as a Raider, the mistakes will come, we'll get opportunities, we will score through them because they've still got a very soft underbelly through the middle, did not give us a chance. Yep. And it's a real credit to them that, as you said, they've had some tough performances this season, a lot of injuries, and they absolutely deserve the win on the weekend. The more blokes come back into this side, there's a glimmer of hope there that, maybe they can exceed some expectations. Still a long way from being convinced, but it was a good win.
Yeah, and you're right. The win wasn't, incredible individual brilliance. It was the gritty 1%ers of kick it in the air, field position. Kick it in the air, field position.
Good chase.
Yeah, just constantly, over and over.
Don't slip off the first tackle.
That's not talent. No. That's not talent. It's purely attitude and a willingness to get into the grind and go, we are not going to give an inch. If
no shit errors coming out of your own end and you're giving us a sniff. We didn't get it.
Literally nothing. And it got to the point where I think Raiders had barely even had a tackle in the 20, or if anything, was quite small. That's the kind of footy, when you're down on troops, that's the kind of footy you need to play. Because you can't, it's almost like polar opposites. Broncos are playing the opposite style of footy, where it's we got so many guns and superstars, we're just going to find the point somewhere. And Knights, they're missing so many of their stars that they need to play this kind of gritty footy, because at the moment it's the only way they're going to win. Now, when KP comes back, when they get all their troops back in, Saifidi brothers can play together, that will change a lot. But at the moment, if you keep playing like this, you'll I don't know if you'll win more than you'll lose, but you'll at least put yourself in a position to win matches. Dan Gagai was outstanding. Lockie Miller, I thought he was his best game in first grade. I thought he was really, really good. A couple of try assists. So he's you're seeing him slowly getting used to the rugby league, NRL, spacing, passing, hitting the right option out the back or hitting short balls. Slowly developing into a player where he's playing so well that he may be taking the decision out of the Knights' hand where they can't move KP back to fullback. He has to stay at 6 because Lockie is so important to the side.
I think the other thing that makes him so dangerous, as you said, he's getting used to the spacing and timing and all that. Because he's a little bit more unorthodox, it's almost hard to predict what he's going to do. He has just got that. There was a moment there where he threw a flick pass as he was coming out of his own end yesterday that was oh, fuck, but that's Lockie can bring that. Yeah,
and it wasn't his fault that Heimerheim dropped it.
Yeah.
That was Heimerheim's fault.
So, as you said, you wanted the Newcastle Knights to play with grit and play tough. Jeez, when Jack Whiten scored that try where he just jogged through the middle of Braylon and Saifidi, I sort of went, oh, fuck, here we go. Please don't do this.
Both of those tries.
At Newcastle,
It was Daniel Saifidi missing Jack, and there was I think it was Leo Thompson on Hudson Young for his try, and that's where I mentioned weak underbelly. You just sort of went there. It makes me sick that we didn't win the game off the back of seeing those two missed tackles, but to their credit, they turned it around big time in the second half. But man, to see that from two of your key middles.
Oh, yeah. And so I was sitting there going, we're in for a tie. If that's how easy it is to score, because the Raiders barely completed a bloody set the first half. So when they were up by 4 points at one stage, they had 44% of the ball and they were completing at 63%, and they were up by 4 points. And you're sitting there going, oh, this is alarm stations. But whatever Adam O'Brien said to him at halftime, they came out a completely new side, just a really simple game plan. And, like, that's what Hastings can offer you. Like, you know, is he going to be Nico Hines? No, of course not. But he can give you a game plan that you all stick to it, and you can grind out gritty wins like this.
Yeah, and he's a great example, you know, sort of in the same basket to some extent as Sean O'Sullivan. You don't need superstars, but if you all just do your job, I'll kick you into the right spots we need to be
Absolutely, yeah. Sean O'Sullivan's a perfect example. You know, like, he could barely get a first-grade crack, you know, and people go, oh, well, he was at the Penrith Panthers. He was at plenty of clubs before he was at the Penrith Panthers.
About 6 clubs.
He couldn't get a crack at the Warriors.
Yep.
And so, you know, just that good foundational football. So I thought it was a really, really gritty win. And it's like, if you're Adam O'Brien, you're going, boys, here's the blueprint. Let's do this every game for every minute. And we won't have situations where, you know, 20 points are scored on us in the last 20 minutes of a match. And we won't have situations, you know what I mean? Like, we'll be in a game and fighting for it. Like, this is why we harp on so much about defence. It just puts you in matches to find ways to win. Whereas when you're a team that just constantly relies on attack, eventually it's going to find you out. So yeah, great win from the Knights. And
you have to think over the next 2 weeks, we'd say Adam Elliott will probably return as well.
Yep.
That'll be huge for them.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And so you go Adam Elliott straight to 13.
Yep.
What would you do with Kurt Mann off the bench, 14?
Did Kurt Mann get injured yesterday?
Yeah, Cat 1, HIA, so he'll miss
11 days.
Next week, okay.
Jack Hetherington's an interesting one for me. I'm not sure. I feel like he's got more in him, more impact on games, but he's been solid. Hasn't been poor. But, I mean, at least he hasn't been getting sent off maybe that's what he's doing.
I thought he was lucky yesterday.
He was very lucky.
He's mad.
He is a madman.
How did that not get looked at?
Inconsistency is insane. Like, yeah, anyway. Yeah, I don't know, mate. I don't know.
Struck a guy in the side of the head. He fell to the ground and no one said anything.
I know, they just kept playing.
Josh Papali'i was like, what the fuck just happened?
It's like
2 weeks for Jack White and for flicking a bloke in the ear.
Well, I mean, Royce Hunt got bloody sent 10 in the bin for like tapping a bloke, and then he gets up, literally strikes him in the head. Anyway, whatever. Like, to be clear though, I don't want either one being 10 in the bin. Either one shouldn't be 10 in the bin. So yeah, look, great win by the Knights. Really excited, like, especially with like Bradman Best and Greg Marju. Like, we know what Dane Gagai can do, but if Bradman Best and Greg Marju can find their best, good luck stopping that coming out of their own end. Yep. Good luck stopping that. That is some of the most powerful wing centre that you will see ever. Like, Bradman Best is a beast. I just really hope he finds, or I hope he gets to the place that we all know Bradman Best can get to. Because 3 years ago, you were talking Origin Smokey. You know, he's had a couple of injuries since then. Hopefully we can see the best again. Because on the weekend, he was outstanding. Absolutely outstanding.
Big test for them this week up against Manly.
Yeah, Manly looking to bounce back.
Yep.
Again, I guess they just got to be gritty. Just got to at least keep them below a certain amount of points. I think the rest will take care of itself. But after that showing, I'm a bit more confident in their ability to hang in games and find a way to win. Now onto the Raiders. Look, I've been pretty disappointed with the Raiders this year. Like, I know they've been gutsy and hung in wins, but you can only do that for so long. And their completion rate in the first half was like, especially like the first half of the first half, was really poor. I know they're missing Savage at the back, and, you know, they were missing Fogarty, but I still think when you look at this forward pack, you know, you've got Tommy Starling, Tarpanair, Hudson Young, Elliot White, Hadawira, Nida. They should be doing better than what they were doing on the weekend. I think they were really disappointing. Don't kill me, Raiders fans. Sorry. Knights fans fucking nearly killed me last week for saying it was disappointing. But I think the Raiders are disappointing on the weekend.
I'll throw it to you. What do you reckon?
Super disappointing, mate. I mean, aside from Matty Frawley emerging as the form halfback of the NRL, we are...
That hair. Just shave it, Russ. Just shave it, Russ.
So, like, we just... I don't understand so many things that are going on at the Raiders at the moment. We've spoken about how they're all their money, not all their money, a lot of their money is tied up sort of in the forward pack and how explosive the forward pack is, which is fine, but I think we lack strike power out wide. So a lot of our points, which they have done in recent years, have to come through the middle of the field. But to do this, you need to create a bit of second phase play and offloading through Josh Papali, Joe Tapney, Corey Hayward and I, a lot of our forwards there. We had 3 offloads to our name until 3 minutes to go, and then CHN or someone had an offload chasing the game late on. But 3 offloads after 77 minutes. When we don't have the most star-studded backline in the competition, I just don't see where our points come from if we don't try and create a bit more second phase play. And I look at Seb Chris, who I know Xavier Savage is coming back in a few weeks, but how far can we realistically go in this competition? And are we any chance of making finals with Seb Chris at fullback? Not a knock on Seb Chris at all. He ran for like 250 metres and just...
Nearly 300.
He worked his arse off, mate. He had he was really solid, but he's a centre deputising at fullback because we don't have a fullback. And the pressure on Xavier Savage, who is still so raw at NRL level, the pressure on him coming back, for him to come back for his first game of the year and deliver points for us, I harp on a little bit too much about just not having these fullbacks, but I think it's really shooting us in the leg where we don't look great.
I think as well, like Jackie Whiten, he needs, and I don't think Frawley was bad by any stretch. Like I love blokes like Frawley because they're just battlers that are so good for a squad. You can bring them in, they'll do a job, and they're really important to squads. Really important to squads. But Jackie Whiten, last few weeks, like he has these big plays, these big moments, and then he'll kick the ball out in the full, or he'll, and it's just they need to find that balance of like unleashing Jackie at the right times, and sometimes it's so hard to say because he's one of the best. He is one of the best footy players in the NRL. I think you'd probably put him top 10, as in footy players, not position wise.
As a footy player, he's unbelievable.
Yeah, unbelievable.
He's simply incredible.
So it's just the last couple of weeks. Like for example, last week when the game was in the balance, I know they ended up getting the win, but last week when the game was in the balance, it was like
moved like a gazelle across the studio.
Jesus, it was tiptoeing like a bloody hell.
Thief in the night.
Jesus. Didn't hear a thing.
You took 3 steps. That was unbelievable.
Yeah, I can move, don't you worry. Pulling the boots back on in a few weeks, so you look out for it. If the Raiders need a fullback, I'm ready.
I'll be honest, I didn't hear a word you said then. I was completely distracted.
Well, basically, the sum of it is Jackie Whiten's a bloody gun, and I want him to be involved as much as possible.
I think I heard the words football player, which is exactly what he is.
He's like top 10 footballers in the comp. Like, literally in any 17 you pick, you have to find a place for Jackie Whiten. I don't know where it is in the side, but you have to find a place. He's so good. But I just
said Matty Frawley was really good, but the combo that Jack and Jamal Fogarty have produced have looked really good this season. So it was a huge loss, but also not an excuse for why we lost, because Matty did come in and set up our first try, banged a 2-point field goal, had some great moments. Yeah,
so with Jackie, it's just those the big moments. If you just rub out the, he got sent for 10. It was his second offence there. He kicked the ball out in the full. Because unfortunately, he had 3 errors. It's like, unfortunately, like, he's the guy for you. If he's not on, you aren't winning footy matches. And yeah, like, as I said, he's so fucking good. And he still had really great moments yesterday. But just little rough edges, if he could just clean that up a bit at 6. Because, like, when he plays for Australia or New South Wales, he doesn't need to be the be-all and end-all of a side. And that's where you see Jackie the best, because he's getting the ball in good positions, doesn't have to worry about all the other stuff. When you see him at the Raiders sometimes, and he still plays great footy at the Raiders, he won a bloody Dally M, didn't he, 2-3 years ago? When you see him having to worry about being the kicker and all that kind of, sometimes it can take away from, it's like Matty Burton sometimes to a degree, takes away from what he does so great.
You're spot on, mate. It's like at the Raiders, because for all the same reasons, for lacking strike on the edges, he has to create everything for us in attack. Whereas at Origin level, because he's got guns around him to put him into these good positions and put him into space and get his one-on-ones with opposing centres or halves or whoever it might be, he just becomes that strong prick of a ball runner, the mongrel, and the damage comes off the back of it.
So I'm hoping Fogarty's return, which, Fogarty's a big out. And look, they didn't leak, nearly 40 points or whatever. But the Raiders, heading into this season for me, Raiders were like, I thought they were going to improve on last year. I was really, really bullish on them. At the moment, I'm a bit touch and go as to whether they'll play finals footy.
It was something that Tim mentioned before. Like, you look at the Canberra Raiders, like your attack is a little bit unorthodox. You lack a little bit of strike, and when you were playing good footy at the back end of last year, it was second phase footy. Joe Tapney offloading at will. I just had a look at his stats. Last year, he had 47 offloads for the year, which I would say the vast majority of those came in the last 10, 15 weeks. Would that be fair?
Yep.
We're 4 games into this season. How many offloads do you reckon he's had?
2.
It's about
2.
Yeah.
Wow. 2 in 4 games.
That's very untupping.
But
Yeah.
he didn't look to offload.
He was not even trying
which
to,
is
yeah.
where I'm like, it almost looked like an order to say, you know what, boys, let's just try and complete high, which is ironic because we didn't. If you're a forward-heavy team and you lack strike, second phase play is so key. I rave on about it. 3 offloads, 77 minutes in.
Yeah, that is surprising.
In decent conditions.
Maybe they have been told to just tuck her under.
That's what
complete.
it looked like, but it also makes no sense to me. Josh Papali'i, first game back, played about 35 minutes. He'll be a lot better for the run. He will help a lot, but
Just quietly though, Tarpane, quiet game. 18 runs, 241 metres, 101 post-contact, 4 tackle breaks, 36 tackles, 0 misses.
beast.
Fuck.
Corey Horsburgh's the same too. 22 games last year with 30 offloads. He's played 4 games now. He's had 2. Look, it must be something that
Must be a directive.
Yeah.
Corey Harawira, one of the best offloads in the game, just not happening.
It must be a game plan. Like they must want to try to complete high. The only problem is they're not completing high.
Game plan.
If you're going to trade in the offloads, you want to get the positive for the trade in, which is a high completion rate.
My whole game plan, if I was them, would be offload, get the ball to Jack.
Yeah.
Straight away. Just
And-
wherever you are, throw the ball to Jack.
And ironically, a guy like Sebastian Chris could actually thrive off an offload game because that's what he's a ball runner. He's not a ball player.
Yep.
Just a quick shout out to Moko, 253 metres, 115 post-contact, 6 tackle breaks. Far out he's strong for his size.
I love him.
As a centre as well, like wingers, it can happen because you get a lot of kick return meters.
Yeah.
For a centre to run, whenever they run 200 plus, let alone 250, madness.
It's actual madness because every run's a fucking hit up.
Yeah.
So, disappointing start for the Raiders. As I said, I tell you what, Newey Knights fans, they're passionate. You nearly got killed last year when you said they weren't going to make the 8.
Yes, I do recall.
Also, and then you got annihilated. And then they came out, they played, and then we jumped back on, jumped back off.
Good times.
And I didn't feel as the pressure that you felt, but I did feel the Knights' pressure, the passion that they bring.
I went very quiet very quickly.
Now let's get on to Dragons v the Sharkies. Dragons 8, Sharkies 40. This was Hot Boy Hines' show. Hair wetter than ever, hotter than ever. Unbelievable return. Talk about Tom Trbojevic influence on Manly. Honestly, I think Manly's changed as a bit of a side now. Like, don't get me wrong, Tom Trbojevic is still a very influential player, but I do think that right now, if they were to lose him, they wouldn't go to complete shit. And I'm not saying Sharks for the whole season would, but the difference in Nicho Hines, it was literally night and day. Like, it was like watching who are these other 17 blokes. Like, it wasn't even close. And we're talking about, you know, last few weeks we've been saying, well, Nicho Hines isn't going to go out there and make the tackles for you. They came out and defended their asses off. And you're like, I know it coincides with they had a string of losses, and obviously Craig Fitzgibbon would be up them for it. But to make this big of a turnaround and look that good, incredible from Hines. And the Sharkies boys for responding. Incredible.
50% possession either way, 40-8. It's all Nicho.
And they both had 75% completion rate.
It's wild.
Oh, yeah.
And you could tell from the moment he came on the field that Cronulla just looked like a completely different outfit.
It just
He had 3 try assists and 5 line break assists. He also had Teague Wilton, he had hit him back on the inside for a try. And then Hamlin Ueli, he put him over as well, and he dropped over the line when Sloan got a fingertip to it. Like, it's one of the all-time great returns from an
seriously.
It's a tough week for us, Kempy. We told people in SuperCoach not to buy him this week, and if those things would have gone his way, he would have broken the fucking record. So,
Yesterday, after a great weekend in Cairns, although carrying a 2-day hangover, rocked up at home, just like, nice comfortable afternoon of footy to watch. Raiders towed by the Knights. Nicho comes out and single-handedly belts my SuperCoach team. You're lucky I'm here today, Kempy, I'll tell you that much. Let's talk about gutsy.
Oh, mate. Talk about what a knock. We haven't even mentioned he had 4 offloads.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if I had to be super nitpicky, Benny Hunt scored a try at the start. Outside of that, it was.
I was going to bring that up on a few occasions. So that's good.
That's going to be coming up a lot this week. Yeah, but what about that missed tackle at home?
Yeah, he missed his Ben Hunt tackle. No good. Outside of that, it's literally the perfect return. He was so good. And he's he just looks like effortless. Like every time he gets the ball, it's like defenses just go, oh, okay, we're just going to take this play off. Like it just opens up for him. He's so good. Jesse Raymond was outstanding. Who else was? I mean, I thought Teague Wilton, proved why he's good. Britton Nicola, he's a beast, man. He's almost the new Boyd Cordner. I know they're different players to a degree, but when you talk about that hard unders line, Nicola is, it's incredible.
I naturally, all my instincts want to push back on that, but I've watched him really closely the last 2 years. He is a freak.
He's a freak.
He's tough as nails.
Yeah. In defence, every hit is like a big hit, but you just don't see it because and that's like what Boydo used to do. It's like everything was at high intensity. Now, he's not on Boydo's level, but I'm just trying to think of a back rower that ran hard lines and also does all the little stuff really, really well.
He's also so young. How old is he, Matty?
24, 25, I'd say.
25. Yeah. He's also not the largest dude on the planet. He's 94 kegs, 185 centimetres.
Whereas Boydo was fucking pretty big. Britton Nicola, really, really good. 2 line breaks, 29 tackles, 1 miss, no errors.
That combo with Nico Hines, hopefully they stay together over the next 10 years, will just be
sublime, honestly.
Yes.
And the crazy thing is like the more he runs these lines, it's going to open up space for Will Kennedy out the back because everyone's going to be like, fuck Britton Nicola ripping my shoulder off. I've got to get right in front of him, otherwise I'm done.
Wasn't it bizarre towards the back end of last season? Even this preseason, I remember us talking up Will Kennedy in the preseason. People going, "No, he's shit. Don't see it." I'm like, are we watching 2 different blokes?
He's so silky. We talk about like he's not a Val Holmes level, but Val Holmes with that class, just that every touch is classy. Yeah. Similar with Will Kennedy. He's got that extra step. He's got that extra second to make the call. He's just silky.
He's got instincts just to be in the right spot at the right time.
Yep.
Always.
Ronaldo Mulatalo, 2 tries, a try assist. I love watching him play. 3 line breaks. The kickback in field that he did.
That was mad.
So good. Yeah.
That was a beautiful try. And I think Nico threw the ball to him, which is the big cutout, went down sideline, everything about that try, put it on the toe, sat up perfectly for Kennedy. Wasn't that a beautiful try?
Oh, and like everything was inch perfect. Matty, what do you got?
Just pointing out, at about half-time, the Sharkies were winning 12-8. Dragons had 55% of the ball at that point. Obviously, Sharks 45. And Dragons had completed at 95%. Yeah. Sharks 61 at halftime. Whoa. And they were still winning at halftime. So those stats you said, they kind of evened up at the end. But that first half, and the Sharks were still winning at halftime,
it just shows you and no disrespect to Dragons, but difference in roster. Like, it's kind of like the Broncos situation.
Yep.
You look at them and you go, and you look at their stats and you go, fuck, like, you should not be winning this game. But once again, the superstar comes out and does something crazy. Nico Hines, if they had anyone less than Nico Hines, it's probably a dogfight the whole game, but they just blew them off the park. Great stuff from the Sharkies. How exciting. Are they fully back? I want to see another game, but when you see them play like that, you go, I think they'll be there at business end of the season. They're definitely good enough to, because there were some people going, ooh, could they fall out of the 8? I think that even though, I'm trying to recall, did I have Cowboys? I think I had Cowboys ahead of them heading into this season. I think right now, and obviously long season, but I think right now Sharks are more progressed than the Cowboys.
Well, the Sharkies have had Nico Hines for 1 game. They're at $11 to win the comp. The Cowboys are at 21s.
21.
What?
Wow. That's pretty good value when you think of...
That's mad value.
Because, when it clicks for the Cowboys, it'll click.
100%, yep.
Wow, doubled.
You feel like the Cowboys are one of those sides when they win 2 games in a row, they could win 10.
Yeah.
They could just go on a real run there.
The Sharkies were really good. The Drags did not throw much at them. There was some really poor defence.
We'll get to the Drags. The only negative of the Sharks is they opened up with the first half, just the completion rate, and you're going, guys, just build some pressure. There were some silly offloads, and because they've got such a gun attacking side, they just rely on it so much. As soon as they said, take a step back, get through our sets, the points will come, it just opened like a floodgate. So really exciting for the Sharkies. Nico Hines, unbelievable. Let's get to the Dragons. Tough. Look, the hard thing for the Dragons is that you go, okay, well, they completed eventually, so they completed their first half at 95% and they go in at half time. The second half, they dropped a bunch of ball, eventually getting down to 75% completion. But it's as you said, they essentially, my stats here say they had 49% possession and Sharkies had 51%, but, essentially 50-50.
Yeah, that's what it was. Sorry,
Yeah.
it was 49, yep.
But, that's 50-50. That's give or take literally one set. Because when you look at it, actually, no, it's not. How does that work? Total sets, Sharkies 45, Dragons 36.
Jags could have had mistakes on fifth tackle and had a lot of ball there. Sharks might have made a few on first.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. And they did have a lot of mistakes at the start of the game on the first of Sharkies. But yeah, when you're rolling in at around 50% completion, but you get, as in 50% each, and you're getting beaten 40-8, even the almighty Benny Hunt looks a bit tired, would I say? Does he have the same energy maybe as last year? I'm not sure.
You can understand it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
The problem is if Ben Hunt isn't, we talked about Jackie Whiten being the go-to guy. Benny Hunt in this side, it's it is all or nothing. All or nothing.
Just for clarification, so Sharks had 25 minutes, 24 seconds with the ball. Dragons had 23 minutes, 56 seconds.
So about a set.
Yeah.
Set and a half.
About a minute and a half, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Mate, I don't know what to say about the Dragons. During the week, they come out and they say that Hook has to reapply. I just don't know how that instills any confidence in the playing group. Is it panic stations, Dragons? I mean, it is. They are one from three?
They had a bye.
They had a bye. Okay, so they're two. Yeah, so they're 1 from 3. Titans beat them. Did Titans beat them or they beat Titans? They beat Titans.
They beat Titans. They lost to Broncos.
Lost to Brizzy. Who was their other loss?
The bye. They the
Okay,
bye.
and then
Yeah.
Okay. So their only win this year is against the Titans.
Yeah.
Okay. Man. I think it's a bit harsh to say panic stations,
Fuck, I'm on the edge of it, though.
but it's
Yeah.
did not look good. Did not look good.
I know it hasn't officially gone through yet, but it sounds like the Aaron Woods swap will be happening.
Which is actually a massive win for the Dragons.
They've won that. I like this Philly Army for feeder. They're getting.
He's a young,
I'm not sure about the other
explosive-
kid, but I like him.
Well, I think I've seen them both in the trials. Definitely the Philly Army one. This is what they need, young, explosive forwards.
Yeah.
So it's a massive win.
What do you make of that from Manly? Is that I love Woods as a bloke. I think he's great commentary and everything, but I think the last 2 years have been pretty disappointing from Woodsy, realistically.
It's an interesting one for sure. And yeah, put all that aside, we all love Woodsy for sure. He's a great bloke, great career. I just don't know whether do the Manly need more experience in the front row? Maybe. And maybe Seibold's maybe trying to learn from his past where he went a bit too young too early and he's trying to bring in a bit of older head to help the boys out maybe.
Maybe, yeah, I don't know. I mean,
but to let go those guys, that could be they could be quite good first graders, especially in the trials. I think Philly Army, he was really good.
Maybe the Roosters just blew them out or whatever, but geez, I would have thrown a bit of extra to get Nathan Brown instead of Aaron Woods. The Roosters might have just done a Roosters though, so God knows there. But yeah, I don't know if Woodsy's, and you know you can't coach experience and whatnot. I'm sure he has got a lot to offer, but I'm not sure if he's the guy I would have gone for there.
Well, I think they've got enough experience. Tom Trbojevic, 6th, 7th year now. DCE obviously. Aloia's been around for a while.
Gerbo,
been around for a while. Yeah, it is an interesting one. Very interesting one. But yeah, back to the Dragons. Oh man, I don't know what they're like. Timmy, what do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, look, not panic stations because it's one game and they've started the season well enough. We know up until the last 10 minutes against the Broncos, they were really gritty. That was a tough game. Look, they were really poor. I just like being the local derby as well. I thought they may have got up for it. They did for a semi, got up for it for a half, but just some really poor defensive efforts. Put the Sharpie through it, bounce back next week, and remember what they did the first couple of rounds. So, but there aren't too many positives to take from this game for them.
It is just going to be tough over the next 3 weeks. I mean, they've got the Dolphins, the Titans, the Raiders. In my opinion, 3 winnable games for them. If they don't win any of those 3, then I'm definitely in panic stations.
Yeah, it almost feels unfair because I feel like the Dolphins set such a high standard for what can be achieved when you stick together.
Yep.
And then you get squads that on paper should be probably better than the Dolphins. And yeah, like I agree with you guys. It's not panic stations yet. But I am really, if I'm being honest, internally, I am really concerned. I know it's a bit weird because you go, well, they beat the Titans, they only lost to the Broncos. But when you add it all in together, like when you add in the preseason form and the game, and then you add in the fact that it's 40-8 in a derby, I just get a bit concerned that they're already struggling for confidence. And then a big game like this, does it smash their confidence?
If one of you said, no, it is panic stations, I wouldn't push back on you all that much.
It's just with everything going on.
Yes.
If their coach was safe and he was like, put it this way, if Hook had just arrived at the club, I would be like, totally fine, rebuilding, it's going to be all good. Let's give him some time. But it's just everything is strange around the whole club at the moment.
I don't understand, and I don't know if the Dragons came out and announced that, leaked, whatever it is, however it got, I don't care how it got out. What good does that do for anyone?
It's almost like showing him the door without showing him the door.
Well, yeah. I don't know. I find them so hard to read, the Dragons, because I'm looking there over the last 2 weeks going, geez, Tyrell Sloan looks happy. He looks keen to play footy again. Maybe something has changed. They come out and say he's got to reapply for his job. Like, in what world are NRL coaches reapplying for their
And then they
job?
get pumped. So it's like, I'm not saying that was the reason, but it certainly doesn't look good. It's not good on the optics for your fans. Your fans are going, okay, so you come out and said that, and then we got beaten 40-8.
Has there been cases of that before? Am I just shooting a blank where coaches have to...
What I can't get is, like, he's been at the club for nearly 3 years now, or two. Let's just say 2 years.
What do you need to sit down and interview with him to work out who he is?
What are you going to find out in his reapplication, in his resume? You're going to reread in his resume and go, oh, shit, we didn't know that about you, Hook. You get the job.
I was joking with mates the other day saying if you're the guy to interview after Hook, you'd walk in and say, I'm not him.
Yeah, we actually missed that you coached the Collingwood Cougars under 7s to a title 4 years ago. Mate, 2-year extension, you're on.
It's the whole thing is, that's what I'm talking about. Like, it's not necessarily the 48 loss, even though it's very disappointing. It's just everything around it that, like, everything that's happened to that club in the last, everything since Barbecue Gate, really. It has just been, and I feel sorry for Hook to a degree because, like, a lot of it's been off-field stuff.
Yep.
A lot of it's been stuff out of his control. You know, even the releasing the statement that they're still looking for, they're going to make him reapply. Like, how does that help Hook? Do you think that's going to put him in the best frame of mind to be the best coach he can be? Like, I don't know, man. Put it this way. A lot of clubs, when this stuff happens, it's usually because there's a lot going on in the admin that we don't even know about. I bet you there's so much shit going on there we don't know.
And, I feel like, especially the last 18 months, the two teams we're having these conversations about, the Tigers and the Dragons, of course, the two merger sides. So it just adds another layer to it.
It's just that fucking divide. It feels like it will never go away because it's like so ingrained.
And like they win games of football and they win comps, Dragons and stuff. Oh, the divide's gone. It's not. It's just waiting for shit times to rear its head up again.
And you need like a crazy strong leader like Wayne to go, nah, it's my way. Look, maybe there's a lot more to it. And I just to be clear, I'm not saying it's panic stations yet, but I am a bit nervous for the Dragons. And it's not the 48 loss. It's just everything. Like, something's not right there. Something's not right.
Are they giving the Dolphins all of Wayne's old rivals and old teams to play all on the trot or what?
You know what? Maybe they did line it up.
I reckon Wayne's called him and gone, give me this run.
To get some
I'll
wins
make
on that.
something
Yeah,
out.
win some.
I'll get them up for this because what he's played, the Roosters who he almost coached, and that fell through. By the Raiders that he used to coach at. He's played Newcastle he used to coach at. Brisbane he used to coach at. St George he used to coach at. And
2 weeks he's got South.
He's got South in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, how good. How good. Any glass half full, guys, for the Blake Laurie? Once again, I thought he had a decent knock.
The only forward to run over 100 metres, Blake Laurie.
Yep, 38 tackles as well. Only one miss.
Kaylee Ravalawa was whacking blokes.
Yeah, in defence.
That was glass half
That
full.
was great.
Loving that.
Benny Hunt's a good footy player.
Yeah, Benny Hunt can play a bit of footy. Great try. Even a guy like Sua'ali'i, who has been a beacon of consistency for them, was a little bit quiet. Jaden Su'a is okay. Big fella. Anyone else? You boys?
Not really, mate. I think it's just one of those nights, unfortunately.
Put a Sharpie through it and move on.
But even like, I don't know, I've sort of been rapping Josh Kerr every week and he plays 25 minutes. I thought he was one of their best forwards last week.
Well, I feel like out of all the forwards, he offers a lot of explosiveness. Big, dangerous.
Yeah, I'd be giving him more time.
Jack Bird starting off the bench.
That was weird.
Yeah.
That I don't understand that. Because like Jack Bird for me is like as many minutes I can get him on the field, get him on the field.
Yep.
Maybe he was injured or something. Because it does.
I mean, yeah. Still played 67 minutes.
We just start him.
Start him.
Just start him. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
I can't imagine Jack Bird would have been stoked to take on his former club and be benched for it.
You know, maybe, Zane Musgrove was put there to take some sting out of the game for Jack Bird, but I kind of feel like Jack Bird revels in the sting in the game. He is the sting.
Yeah. And especially without Jack de Belin in the team, how can you not start with Bird?
Yeah. Anyway, hopefully they bounce back. Hopefully, I just want everything to get sorted, the Dragons, because they're too proud of the club for this to be happening. They're too proud. So much history. The great Benjamin Hunt Dozer at 7. Anyway, hopefully they bounce back. What's going on this week, boys?
Beers and Break-Evens on Wednesday. I think we've got a public apology to put out to Hot Boy Hines. So
Yeah, okay.
it'll be good fun.
Do it without your shirt on. Pussy.
I think I need more than that to be the personalised Supercoach team. But anyway, I need the muesli bar factory.
So make sure to watch Beers and Break-Evens, guys. The number one Supercoach by a long margin in the game, showing the game.
Yeah.
What do you got there, Matty?
Well, we need to do our tips still.
Oh, sorry. Nearly got away with it. Okay,
You wouldn't forget it after winning last week.
Yeah, you fuck, unbelievable. So, tips for the week brought to you by Sportsbet, guys. As always, gamble responsibly. Don't go crazy. You win some, but you lose more than you win. And a massive thank you to Sportsbet for partnering with Bloke. And Sportsbet's the reason why we can go on tours, guys, why we do all this stuff here. Them supporting us gives us the resources to do everything we've been doing this year. So, thank you to Sportsbet. Support them. They support us. Now, first game. Oh, my God. Roosters versus the Para Eels.
Take us away, Kempy. Who you got?
Oh, shit. Roosters, Eels paying $250. There's a bit of value there. Like, they just beat Penrith. So you're going, like, they can do it. Without Junior Bowlaw, I'm going Roosters.
Yeah, I'll go Roosters.
Roosters.
I'm all over Para.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. He's got some confidence now. I hope you get absolutely
doesn't he?
slaughtered, yeah?
One win.
Oh, my
and he starts
God.
going a little bit rogue, away from the favourites.
Raiders versus Penrith. Raiders are paying $350, but I think Penny Panthers get the job done.
Penrith for me.
Panthers.
I just don't know if Raiders have got the points in them, like, because Penrith's going to defend quite well. That's what they do. I just don't know if they got the points in them.
Turn
Raiders.
into an arm wrestle. Turn into a gritty dogfight.
Yeah. Take him into the gutter.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially if Whiten doesn't get off.
Yeah, I don't think he'll get off. And I think they'll be trying to make up for that first, the hit on Lockie Miller. Anyway, South Rabbitohs, I'm going Penrith. Rabbitohs versus the Melbourne Storm. Melbourne Storm are paying $2.45. When was the last time you seen that? In a non-origin period or whatever. Wow. What are you going, boys?
Bunnies.
Bunnies.
South.
You're going to do it, aren't you?
Yeah, bunnies.
Oh.
Holy shit. Manly versus Knights. You're paying $4.50. $4.50? Holy shit. I tell you what, there's Manly, people are getting behind them. So, oh man, Manly at home.
It's at Mudgee.
Oh, is it Mudgee? Oh, okay. Oh, I love the second half performance from the Knights. Do they get anyone back? Due back?
Maybe Adam Elliott. Maybe.
Oh, I'll go Manly.
Yeah, Manly for me.
Manly.
Yeah, like Manly.
$4.50's not bad though. Shit. St. George are favourites against the Dolphins.
Jeez.
Now, Dolphins are absolutely decimated by injury.
Marshall King back.
Oh, this is a tough one. Oh, man, this is a tough one. I am going to go... Oh, they just got so many outs. I'm going to go the Dragons. Dolphins, it'll be heroic if they somehow manage to win this one.
Yep, I'm going the Dolphins. Heroic win.
Sorry, did I go Dolphins or St. George?
You went St. George.
Yeah, I'm going St. George.
I'm going Dolphins.
Jeez, it's hard.
They got so many outs.
I'll go the Dragons just off the back of Benny Hunt.
Yeah, I'm going Dragons as well.
Oh,
This could be your one, Guru.
Love that.
There you go on. Broncos,
Isaiah.
$1.15. Tigers, $5.50. This sounds insane. That's value. Not because they shouldn't be at $5.50, but because like they're our bogey side. We fucking got towed by them last year. I'm definitely going Broncos, but they're our bogey side. They fucking towed us up last year when we were on the craziest run we're killing it. People were saying premiership contenders and they beat us by fucking 20 points or something. But I'm going Broncos.
I'm going Brisbane. I don't mind them 1-12 though. I think it'll be a little bit closer.
Broncos.
I got Brisbane, but as you guys said, the line's 15.5. That's a massive, massive line.
The line's 15.5.
Yeah.
That's good value.
Yeah.
Because you just don't know what, like, the Broncos going to play this, like, I guess, style where it's just like try for try or, drop ball for drop ball. Okay. Now, Sharkies, Warriors. I don't mind the Warriors here, eh? Hot Boy Hines is back. I'll go Sharkies, but I think I wonder what the line is here because
the line is 10.5.
Oh, I'll go Sharkies.
Yeah, with Hines back, I've got to go Cronulla.
Sharkies.
Yep, Sharkies.
Bulldogs versus Cowboys. Bulldogs paying $2. Cowboys $1.80. Wow, who would have thought?
I'm going to go. I better go Canterbury. I think this week, Tim.
Yeah. Lot out the Cows. I'm going to go the Dogs.
Bulldogs.
Oh shit. Travel to New Zealand. They come back. This is Drinky's still not back. Oh, I went Bulldogs last time. Oh man. No, I'm going Cowboys. Queenslander. Come on, boys.
I've never heard of that.
Anyway, that is us done and dusted. Make sure to grab a case of Bloke and a beer. Support the platform. If you enjoy hours and hours of free content, go out and grab a case of beer. Give her a try. And as usual, I'll go and fuck myself. Thank you.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.